Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Revolution will be podcasted.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat, live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. Just go to SamTripoli.gold, use the promo code Tinfoil, and you too can get in on the precious metals games for just $50 a month. It's just that simple, sent right to your house. Speaking of Wise Wolf, welcome the first guest probably ever in the studio, Tony Arterburn. How are you, buddy?
It's good to see you, Sam. It's great to be. I love the studio.
Thank you, dude. We had some lesbians, and and we're like, let's just take over that and just put it in there. Bang, and here we are, dude. I think it's great. I love it.
It's great to be back, and thanks for letting me bring beans.
Anytime, dude. We need dogs here. We need dogs. We love dogs. I was looking. Who were we talking to? Oh, what show? Oh, yeah, it was on Doom Scrolling. We were talking about all the pagan gods were all cat people. I'm like, we need some dog people. That's why they're all fucking so queeny. These fucking pagan gods. They're only cat people.
Completely agree.
Yeah, well,
right.
Dog is God spelled backwards.
100%.
There we go.
And we're kind of like vampires because they age so quickly and we age so slowly compared to them, and it's kind of sad.
I saw once, it was really beautifully put, that the reason that dogs live so short a time is because they already learned the lessons that they need to learn, and it takes us longer.
Yeah, I think about that all the time.
Because she's right here in this moment.
Yeah.
Unlike me or you, probably, I'm thinking about 2 weeks from now or tomorrow or yesterday or what I didn't do.
100%.
And she's just right here.
You know who's very zen? Strippers. Strippers live in the moment. They spend all their money. They don't care that by 35 if they're going to be struggling.
Is no tomorrow.
Yeah, they just like spend it all. I don't care. And it's crazy. It's just a crazy time, man. And we've been having some really good episodes. And we, one that really resonated with me is the staying away from, instant gratification. Like, it's really affected me, that moment in that episode. And so I've been going around with, I talked about this on the other show. Johnny's going to get mad because everything we talked about in Broken Sim, I'm talking about here.
We sure have.
Where is it? Yeah, this little fucking guy, dude.
Oh, the Jesus little guy?
Yeah, I bring it everywhere.
Yeah, it's in my car. I left it in my car, but yeah.
I just it's just a sigil for me now. It'll be like, don't take the quick way out, as I'm eating pizza in the other room. But
did you catch who gave it to us this weekend?
What?
Did you catch who gave that to us this weekend?
Jason.
Was it Jason?
Yeah, he just handed it to me. I'm like, I'm going to hold it. Yeah. And it's hard to watch pornography when this guy's staring at you. Judging you.
He's in your pocket.
Stop judging us, dude. So that's kind of where I'm at, dude. We were talking about life right now and just where we're kind of at. Your co-host. Who are your co-hosts?
Billy Ray Valentine and Don Jeffries over on America Unplugged, the show I do Saturdays.
I give a lot of props to Billy Ray. He was way ahead of the Trump ain't who he is guy. He was early on in that to the point he would get mad at me. And but he nailed it, dude. And it's like this crazy time right now of just psychological, spiritual warfare that we're in. And everyone's trying to figure it out, and I don't think you're meant to figure it out.
I don't even think we have a clear picture now. It's very the Psyop within a Psyop is like a Russian doll. The mind warfare all baked into the political back and forth dichotomy between left and right. And again, I have my disagreements with Billy, but he's absolutely has been spot on with this for years and years, and it's a thankless task, by the way, because especially when alternative media has been so pro-Trump, not all of it, but a big portion of it, as you know. and he's over there, this voice in the wilderness. And I've just been kind of like Don Jeffries is, who's wrote Hidden History.
Yeah, we love Don. He's been on a show a bunch of times.
I have so much respect for Don. I used to read his books before I ever met him. And
I did a forward in it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, me and AI did a forward in it. I think he got mad at that, but it was actually a sign of respect, unless he wanted it to be written in Quran and spelled wrong. I mean, like, dude, I'm trying to make it look good for you. Clean it up.
I know he loved that, and I know Don has a lot of respect for you, and yeah, it's I love working with those guys, and I think America Unplugged's one of those shows where we don't all agree. You know, it's not an echo chamber, and I come out of the old school paleo-con right and libertarian thought, if you really want to put it that way, but from East Texas, so John Birch Society type stuff. You know, I come out of that arena of thought, and it's been a weird journey for me because I started out in traditional conservative talk radio, even though I was an outlier. You know, I was anti-war. I want to bring the troops home. I want to have a border, not a new world order. All the stuff that I ran on 10 plus years ago, and now we're just beyond politics. Now it's I have no dog in the fight. I mean, we talk about local and things that you can do and work on yourself. This is it's all spiritual at this point, and just preparing for the next level. But it's sad to watch. I know a lot of people's hopes just get dashed, especially just in the last. Look at the train wreck that's happened in the last 30 days. It's been 30 days since we struck Iran, and all the lead up to that, what they call the 12-day war now. And it's been 30 days, and since that time, the Epstein list, we're not supposed to. Why are you still talking about that kind of thing? Came. It's just the absolute free fall of that.
The moralization.
Yes.
And that's it. And it is crazy. And again, I just think, we got all these guys that had Trump on, and, it's easy to, in hindsight, to go, what the fuck you have him on? Well, it was going to be huge ratings at that point because we all had a different view of what Trump was at that time. And even though I would probably say a lot of the stuff that has come out or he's done, I would say he was going to do. If you go, Sam, on November 3rd, do you think Trump tries to go to war with Iran? 100%. Do you think he's a complete Zionist? 100%. Would he try to convince us that the Epstein files weren't real? Probably that will, if you got that on your bingo card, you're winning bingo at this point.
Yes.
And, even though there were clues along those sides where he's like, I wish her well. And everyone's like, you wish her well? She's a child sex trafficker. Who cares? It's like, and like that doesn't really resonate with people until later on. You go, okay, that was a big, big indicator. And like, I get yelled at. Most of them are bots. They try to convince me they're not bots. But I go, I understand, like, me as a content creator, I have 100,000 followers. I get that. That's my job. I have this podcast. People know about it. People are come to me. But it's hard to take somebody who's been on a social media platform for 15 years and has 112 followers. It's hard for me that you can't even get bots to like you, like porn bots who love everybody. They just want to say nice things to you. You can't even get their following. And they're just beating me down. Why you got Trump derangement syndrome? It's like, I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. I actually wanted him to be the guy that he sold us on.
Me too. Yeah, it's devastating. And I think about, especially from my standpoint, I always try to give the best analysis. And I realize as a broadcaster, and I'm sure you do too, the money that we've left on the table because we don't just, suck it up and go with a narrative. I don't. And I've left a lot of things and sponsorships on the table because I don't agree with that. So you get thrown out into, you have Trump derangement syndrome, or, you're of the left or something like that. I remember when I was filling in for David Knight on InfoWars before Alex Jones fired him. It was one of my last broadcasts over there. And this is right after the 2020 results in November. So it was like November 13th or so. And I gave my best analysis. I had Don Jeffries on. We talked about the constitutionality of overturning a decision as far as the vote was going to go, or solidifying that, and just gave the best analysis. And I remember the comments, not all of them were bad, but some of the comments, I remember one was, thanks for giving up, Tony, you pussy.
Imagine calling Tony Arterburn a pussy. The guy is just fucking granite, been in the service, and to call him a pussy. I mean, like, and do you think that guy has ever laid his life on the line for? At the time, I'm sure your thought is when you join the military, I'm trying to protect democracy. I'm trying to protect my homeland. In hindsight, do you still feel that? Not that your service wasn't that, but what your service was really meant to be. Yes.
The intent was all because I love my country. I love the American Republic and the ideals that it was founded on. It's never been perfect. Nothing under the sun is. But I remember, part of my story is going back to the mid-'90s. My dad is an entrepreneur. After Ruby Ridge, after Waco, my dad just came online and said, this is something wrong here with this government overreach. And I went and saw different speakers. I was tuned into the mid-'90s before they came up with the Manchurian candidate, Tim McVeigh, in Oklahoma City to squash that. I got to see some amazing things, and I was exposed to, constitutional thought, the dangers of the New World Order and things like that, long before I joined the military. But I still had that ingrained in me that I wanted to do something for my country. I didn't have to go in the military, something I wanted to do. And I'm really glad that it changed my life. And the perspectives that I have now after volunteering and going in and 3 foreign wars, you get to see the dark side of humanity. You get to see how policy is made, and it's not what these think tank weirdos and automatons for Satan that send you to war. They have more experience in a think tank than an Abrams tank, to quote Pat Buchanan, and that's where I had that bend in the river of my own life and my own ideologies around age 24. So my last tour, and I came home in 2004, I read Pat Buchanan's The Death of the West. And that really just, I looked at the world so differently. It was based off of history and tradition and civilization, and not just pie in the sky ideology. You're getting fed, through the neocons, who hijacked the Republican Party. Because let's just face it, they never went away. Trump was able to do something that no one else besides Buchanan had slightly captured that, which is the nationalistic, they call it isolationist, but it was really just about America first. And let's not forget, if you know anything about politics, that the term America first, you weren't even supposed to use that. That was considered fringe in the 90s and the early 2000s. Trump brought that back, and Billy Ray talks about the Cambridge Analytica and the 5,000 data points that they had. They were feeding people what they actually wanted to hear, which, lock her up, build that wall, bring the troops on. Nationalism is still popular, but MAGA and whatever Trump is captured that. And I think that's where this strange place that we are now. It's like, where do we go? And I'm trying to, again, I'm with you on just trying to be as free as possible to give my analysis without fear of losing a sponsor or not gaining one, or financially too. I'm trying to do the best I can as an analyst in this this dystopia.
It is really hard, and the question becomes, how long do they let it go? Do they have the power to take away a sponsor from you? And of course they do. I mean, somebody owns something on something. You go high enough, there's always going to be a lizard person at the end of it, right? Right. So I mean, it depends on when do they call it in, because right now cancel culture it can hurt your business. If you cancel somebody, people get really mad, and no matter how much they control us, you do have free will and you do have opinions, and you're allowed to exercise those opinions. And those opinions, that exercising of that free will is very powerful still. Even though we live in you're in a city right now where the mayor burnt it down, right, and they stole $100 million, and there's nobody upset right now. There's nobody upset, because this whole town is full of rich kids who their whole thing is conformity. They're all trust fund kids. They went to private schools, and the whole thing is, I got to conform. I have to appeal to authority. They love the mantras of, free love and love everybody and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it really is about an appeal to authority. And I was talking about this on another podcast about, you look at the gay community. Yeah, they're kind of this alternative lifestyle, but in every other aspect, they conform to authority on almost every issue. They, whether it's vaccines, whether it's cancel culture, there is no part they cannot conform hard, which is so weird because they're seen as these kind of outlaw people, and it's like only when they're told to rage against the machine, which is like to destroy traditional institutions, they don't realize that that's what they're being used for, is to subvert tradition. And so it's like, yeah, go and dress up like a woman and go read to children, even though that's detrimental to the future. But everything else, they just completely buy. If there's a BLM rally, you'll see 1 billion fucking rainbow flags, gays for, BLM and stuff like that. No matter how much the rhetoric is, we don't like you, they show up and do that. And you're like, well, that's counterculture. Not when you take a look at it, because you were talking about Cambridge Analytics and how they just use the data to well, they did that with Obama phones. Right. That's what Obama phones are all about. That's right. And it's almost like make the left liberal again. Where's the anti-war left? Yeah. When I was a kid, that was the thing. They had so crazy. Have you seen that clip? It's like a throwback of a 1990s hippie girl they're interviewing at a Fish concert, and she just like it's a throwback like that. That's like an extinct species of people that are skeptical of big government or just want to grow a garden and everything's natural and organic and all this stuff. And then you fast forward to our time, and that person is going to be pro big pharma, pro war. And almost in the spirit of like the French Revolution, like the Jacobins, like just very violent. Like you look at the people that put Ukrainian flags on their profile picture, they're bloodthirsty. Yeah, they got like the BLM fist, the rainbow flag, and then the Ukrainian flag.
Yeah, they're the joiners. They're just joiners now.
And like whenever there's a vax, the gay community can't run there quick enough to get it. Oh, monkeypox. It's like, what? They don't even need to. What is it? Nope. Give it to me. Give me the vax. Give me the vax. It's like Don Lemon, that clip, like, put it in me. Shoot me. Put it in me. Have you heard that clip? Put it in me. Put it in me. Right? And you're totally right. It's like, when did the left become pro-war?
Yeah, there is no, it's just, it's a uniparty as much as it has ever been right now.
And if you're a traditional liberal, you're called a conservative. I get called a conservative all the time. It's like, bro, I am not conservative. I'm conservative in some ways. Like, I want a strong faith in God. I want a strong family unit. I want people, to be able to make money. I want to feel safe on the streets. Those are like traditional values. Right.
They made Bill Maher a conservative. That's how much the party has changed. Bill Maher, dude, he was the edge. He was on the edge, and now he's, centrist.
And that he gets in trouble. Right? He gets in trouble, and that's why I talk about how like there's a lot of popular comedians that don't want to do my shows. They won't want to be on flyers with me because they think I represent some radical right, and it's just like I'm on nobody's team. That's one of my favorite Whitney Cummings thing. She's like, why are these people coming after me? I'm like, well, when you come to our side, she's like, I'm on nobody's side. And you can say whatever you want about Whitney Cummings. Nobody's perfect.
She's funny.
But her new stuff is fire, dude. Yes. And like, you need Whitney Cummings to go after women, like to call out, and when I go on stage and I talk about women, they shut the fuck down. They just shut down, dude. They don't want to hear it. But if a chick goes up there and talks about how blown out her pussy is, she's like, oh my God, you are so fucking brave. Yes, queen, right? It's just like, it's like when you're in our position, you see all the psyops at work and how it detaches them from getting closer to source. And they just don't understand it. And I'm studying Alexander II right now. And, his father is basically one of the founders of communism. It wasn't called communism then, but he was like lock down everything, lock down art, because like on his first day that he became czar, they tried to overthrow him. Day one, they were like, they were called the guard, and the czars forever. You couldn't exist unless you had the guards on your side, and they were already pissed at him on day one, and they were going to overthrow him day one, and he got really lucky because he had cannons, but they were all drunks, and they just couldn't put it together, and he survived. But after that, he locked everything down, and he actually like invented Russia's version of intelligence agencies. He just sent in people to be like agents provocateurs, or like to just like what the CIA does, and co-op everything. And so his son grew up and was studying that, and he's like, when I get in, I'm going to change a lot of things. He's the guy who freed the serfs, right. And he gave art. He let art talk. He let art flourish. He let politics flourish, and it ultimately cost him and his family, right. Because we always go, free will is great. God gave us free will, but what do you do with free will? And the real question is like, what do the rich kids do? It's always the rich kids. The rich kids have nothing to worry about, so they have to like kind of like imagine problems. Yeah. They have to be like, oh, this isn't right in the world. We got to right this wrong. And like that's who ended up taking out, his grandson, Nicholas, who gets assassinated by the Bolsheviks. The Bolsheviks were all rich kids.
It's interesting because part of that movement, though, was this. I mean, it kind of ended up turning on them, the elites of that movement, because it became an anti-intellectual thing too, yes. Where a lot of those people were kind of expunged from their own party. That did turn on them at one point.
And on the surface, it was anti-materialistic. On the surface,
yes.
But let's not forget they were funded by the richest people in the world at the time, the Wahlbergs and the Rothschilds. I mean, Woodrow Wilson put Leon Trotsky, gave him a special pass to get out of Canada, loaded him down with gold. And, we had at that time, Paul Warburg was the head of the central bank, the Federal Reserve in the United States. Max Warburg was the head of the central bank in Germany, his brother. And that was the one who put Lenin in a sealed train car. Part of the downfall of the Russian monarchy was not organic.
No.
It was less with internal policy other than the blunder of going to war, because war is always the seed for greater chaos and bloodshed and demoralization. And
sacrifice. There is some like occult sacrifice involved with sending people to die.
Yes. I've been saying that for years and years. Even long before I stepped into the conspiracy realm or the conspiracy theory of history, I'd always say, well, the only way these people can, get sexually excited is to send, the best and bravest off into a meat grinder war with no win, like eyes wide shut. I would get mad. I instinctively knew that before I dug into that history.
Hey guys, real quick, I'll tell you about one of our favorite sponsors. That's right, Wise Wolf Gold and Silver, okay? If you're paying attention, you know that de-dollarization is real. Fiat is fake, and you don't want to be left holding the bag when the dollar collapses. Gold and silver has been money through all of recorded history and are an excellent way to protect yourself from inflation and geopolitical turmoil. That's why I trust my friends at Wise Wolf Gold and Silver for all things precious metal. Veteran owned and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau. No transaction is too big or too small, and you can even roll over your 401k or IRA into physical gold and silver. And if you think you can't afford precious metals, think again. With the Wolf Pack monthly membership program, you can get gold and silver delivered directly to your door for as little as $50 a month. Wise Wolf Gold and Silver also deals in and accepts Bitcoin. So go to SamTripoli.gold, promo code tinfoil at checkout to receive free constitutional silver. And remember, in the world of bulls and bears, be the wolf. Guys, real quick, I want to tell you about one of the best sponsors we have. That's right, Cornbread CBD Hemp, okay? Have you been looking for a natural way to relieve aches and discomfort? The CBD gummies from Cornbread Hemp are formulated to work with your body and not against it. Cornbread hemp CBD gummies are made to help you feel better, whether it's stress, discomfort, or just needing a little relaxation. They only use the best part of the hemp plant, the flower, formulated to help relieve discomfort, stress, and sleeplessness. All products are third-party lab tested and USDA organic to ensure safety and purity. Okay, so here's what we need you to do. Right now, Tinfoil Hat listeners, aka the Swarm, okay, can save 30% on their first order. Just head to cornbreadhemp.com/
Tinfoil.
That's cornbreadhemp/
Tinfoil.
and use the code
Tinfoil.
at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/
Tinfoil.
and use the code.
Tinfoil.
And we thank them for sponsoring our show. Well, Napoleon, famous for basically taking the biggest, the fastest, the strongest of French and leading them to slaughter.
Yeah. Repeatedly.
And that's kind of why you look at France and they're all like married to their dad. It's now a woman.
I mean, I would love to meet that guy.
I mean, how crazy is that story?
Yeah.
Your dad is now your wife.
Who are her kids? In that theory, who are her kids, by the way?
So he has a cousin that looks exactly like him. And the rumor is that the cousin is the son of his uncle that disappeared.
But who's her kids? Who are they? Like I just haven't heard anybody say that.
Macron is her son.
No. But she has children.
Yes.
Whose children are they? If she didn't birth children. So do we have?
I've never heard. They've never discussed that. And I'm sure that woman is not around anywhere. Okay. Or she is being told to everyone as the wife of her brother.
I mean, they're suing people for this.
Yeah, she's got 3 kids from her
Well,
first
she
marriage.
lost in France. Like, you got some real balls. You can't even win on your home court. And now you're going to come here and sue Candace Owens?
I mean, we kind of talked about it. You really think, and we already went over it, that Trump called her, telling her stop talking about Bridget Macron?
Yeah, because you never said, he would say, oh.
She wouldn't make that up. Right?
Yeah, was that cow? No. He would say something, we'd fall in love with him again for shooting from the hip. And that's what we loved about him. We had somebody in this age of political correctness shooting from the hip.
It's like her kids do look like her, though. So it's somebody related to her that had those children. She's got 3 kids. Her daughter looks a lot like her.
Yeah. I mean, because they're his
called incest.
Kids.
You think they could be clones or something?
Incest.
Yeah. Johnny.
I know. I want to know who the woman is, though, that birthed them. That's what.
Can you find that?
I'm trying.
It's like trying to find out who Hitler's grandpa is. Like, good luck.
Yeah, totally.
Good luck on that. Good luck on that.
You can't even find a picture of Bridget Macron pregnant. If you have kids, you would have a picture of you in your maternity. Like,
who are you talking about, her or Michelle Obama?
Michelle Obama, yeah.
Another one you can't find that's pregnant.
It's just like crazy. It's just really nuts. This world we live in, and it's like, and I just, so I found this new channel on YouTube called the Esoteric Guardian, and it deals in all the occult, and especially these fallen angel demons and who they represent from long ago, and kind of their impact on today. And you go, okay, so these people worship these demons way back then. Where are these demons right now? What are they doing? Are they just sitting in the green room waiting to get called? Like, so you go, these demons have been since the flood, kind of just been waiting for their turn to come out. And I think we're at that point.
Is it because they have to be summoned? They have to be invited?
Yeah, well, I think it's that the flood of God probably pushed them back. And then it just the summoning, or it has to be the right environment for them to step out where everyone's kind of accepts that who they represent, right?
It's the same with miracles, but there's a debate in the church going back centuries on why we don't see miracles anymore, why people aren't performing miracles, and there's a couple of different schools of thought. One is that the ability to perform miracles kind of died with the apostles. And then there are some that saints, they're like the Catholic Church looks to saint. You need to have a miracle on your books basically to be canonized. So they argue that there still are miracles, but there's different schools of thought. It's kind of there's one that's called like cessationism or something like that that says that it died off with the apostles, but that's along the same lines. It's like there's less spooky shit going on than there was. It seems, at least in the Bible.
Did you hear about that? That the world's smartest man is announcing the return of Jesus, and he said it's like he's calculated it
based on his theory on quantum physics and Einstein's principle of relativity. Okay, sounds legit.
Guy with the smartest IQ, the biggest IQ. That's
Young Hoon Kim.
Okay, that's not who I'm expecting to drop some Jesus knowledge on me.
You did expect him to be the smartest one, though, right?
The Koreans are big into Jesus, to be fair. The
Yeah,
Koreans
I mean, they've been conquered.
JC. They love JC.
But,
I love how you call it JC.
but
They love him.
it's just super interesting because like it was like sprinkled in the background, and now all the symbolism is right out in front of you, and they're not even hiding it. And when someone tells you about it, you tend to get looked at like you're a crazy person. Like I brought up, we did an episode with Izzy Griffin, and I told Dana about like, oh, he brought up all this crazy stuff about Sabrina Carpenter, and her reaction was, why are you guys picking on Sabrina Carpenter? I'm like, what do you mean we're picking on her?
Like she's ever going to hear about it.
But I mean, if it gets loud enough, she's going to hear about it.
Yeah, I mean,
What was that mumble?
well, if you if you choose to put yourself out there, you'd have no control over what people say about you. Grow up, you know?
Yeah, but that's the game.
That's what I just said. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the game, because her base is kids, and they got to hook them early.
Well,
So she brings them in.
You see that over and over again, where someone starts as kind of the innocent kid, and then they start slutting it out to get kids to go along with them on that kind of, turning them out journey, which is just disgusting. So Brittany,
And it's this psyop that has been run on our culture to convince women to be whores, and everyone talks about Islam, and like I used to do a lot of stand up with the Muslim comics, and they treated me very well. They did. I was
because they thought you were a Muslim, right?
No, no, they knew I was Armenian.
Well, didn't you get thrown in on like Syrian comedy or
I got thrown in on the Arabian Nights.
Arabian Nights, yeah.
But what I tell you, I was filthy as a and they still liked me. They were very nice to me. Very, very nice to me. But again, there's this whole argument about, which culture treats women better. The ones that dress them like ninjas, or the ones that allow them all the free will they want. And it's led to disastrous effects. Now, obviously, there's the stonings and the honor killings. And, I would tell you that we probably have that, and we just don't call it honor killings.
Wait, so you're really making an argument that it's possibly better for women to live a life in a burqa? Is that what you're saying?
Well, look at the effects, Johnny.
You are. Okay.
No. That's not what, Johnny.
I'm not trying to get
But
you.
that's also not what
like
I'm saying. I'm not saying it, and I'm not saying it.
Because I think that's crazy.
I'm not saying it, but I'm also
You're
not saying it.
Okay.
I'm just telling you, Johnny, when 50% of the women...
I think free will is the ultimate virtue, and that people should be able to do whatever the hell they want to. If they want to destroy themselves morally, that's their prerogative, and we should have nothing to do with it.
Well, then they're doing that.
Yeah. Good.
They're incredible. The amount of mental illness is skyrocketing in liberal women, which is most of them. Skyrocketing.
I feel like they're probably not having a great time over in Syria or wherever either, to be fair.
Well, Johnny, because you're going through the lens of like slinging pussy is the higher vibrational
Right, but what
way.
I'm saying is, look what happened in Iran when it was liberalized. All the women took them off so given the choice, they're going to take them off.
100%. But what's the opposite of that? Right, walking around with no underwear.
Right, but those are edge cases.
Bonnie Blue setting up 1,000 guys in one night. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you're giving me edge cases.
And now this is not like everybody's a whore. This is not that conversation. But they are talking about the disaster of women being promiscuous.
I mean, freedom has its risks, but it is the ultimate virtue. Freedom of choice.
What would you say a normal average body count should be? Obviously not 100, and obviously not one. I mean, obviously, don't think you should marry and like. So if you guys are both saying, like, one of them,
I don't think
the institution of marriage was built on you were marrying a virgin.
yeah.
That's what it was built on.
arranged marriages, yeah. Which I mean, there is some virtue to those for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
But
like
I don't,
Johnny, if divorce is skyrocketing over 50%, okay,
Right.
and we're having problems with pair bonding, which is a big issue
right, but I
now.
don't. But to suggest that
I'm not. You're saying I'm suggesting. I'm saying.
you said you're not suggesting.
Well,
it.
what I'm saying is like, how can you say one is way better than the other? You're taking your personal
one
views.
gives people freedom of choice, and the other forces
and
them to wear.
unfortunately, Johnny, when given that, and it's statistically shown, the more options you have in life, the more miserable you are. You're just taking your view.
It is. I will say that I do come from the Christian perspective where Jesus, God, allows us to choose to destroy ourselves. That's
right.
That proves that the ultimate virtue is freedom to me. So and to me, people should be allowed to choose whatever they wish. And that is the ultimate value.
And I'm not saying they're not. They shouldn't.
Right, but
I'm
in the burqa situation,
do you understand what I'm saying,
opposite
Johnny?
of that.
What I'm saying is that we have
You're saying that freedom is scary and there are some risks to it, some downsides.
yes, and
I
it's
agree.
not working out. Even if we think we should have it,
Right, but
it's
there's a
not
difference
working
between
out.
this extreme thing that these
Johnny, go on TikTok and tell me if society's doing well.
Well, do you think TikTok is a representation, an accurate representation?
Johnny, do you think TikTok is not an
Sam, we spend all our days talking about how they show us the worst of humanity on there,
Right.
on purpose.
Johnny, for the first time in my life, Sunday, I was in Orange County. I went and got something to eat with my friend Nick, and I walked, and there was an Asian chick all by herself with a camera in front of these fountains, TikTok dancing.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen that in the wild? Have you ever seen it? No. It is 10 times more shocking than you think. First, you laugh at it when you see videos of it, people making fun of it, and then you see it in real life. You're like, it's like seeing a dire wolf. You're like, this is dangerous.
She'd probably be happier in a ninja outfit, I'm sure. Like, is that what we're saying, really?
No, Johnny, that's not what I'm saying.
It's not what you're saying, though.
No, what I'm saying is we cannot say that one way is better than the other.
I can say that.
Okay.
I can say that.
But the statistics don't support that, Johnny.
What statistics do you have on the happiness of women
I don't know,
overseas?
Johnny. Birth rates being down.
What does that have to do-
economy being
what does
down.
that have to do with women
Nobody's
being happy?
working right now. Like,
yeah, but that's a false equivalency. Those things aren't
how's
related.
that not, what are you talking about,
So you're
Johnny?
saying that women should have, people at large should have
I'm
fewer
not saying
choices.
anything. I'm saying what you are championing right now is being put into effect, and it is having disastrous effect.
No, you're completely misunderstanding me. I think that we should all champion the virtues that we believe in. In my case, it's Christianity. It's a wholesome upbringing. It's two-parent households. It's families staying together for the kids. And I just think people should have the freedom to choose those
Johnny,
things, and they shouldn't be forced to do anything.
I think that people should not go to jail for doing drugs. Okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
Guess what? Drugs ruin your life.
That's true. Yeah,
Okay.
freedom is scary, but
It's
that's
the exact
better
same thing.
than cutting people's heads off for doing drugs. I mean that, and you're saying, well, the society would be better. There'd be no druggies on the
Okay,
streets.
Johnny, you can see you're taking again extremes.
No, you're the
telling me
one that
I'm
brought the
taking
burqa.
extremes.
What are you talking about?
No, I'm not talking about burqas. Okay,
You're the one that brought
I
the
think
burqas
there
up.
are burqas. Not every Muslim woman wears a burqa. I've met many that don't.
No, but you said that the women over there in the burqas are.
No, I'm comparing you're taking I'm taking the two extremes.
Right, and I'm
okay?
saying that having ultimate freedom is always going to be better than that.
But I'm telling you, the statistics bear out that it's not working.
Yeah, but what good statistics do you have on women
Birth
and burqas?
rates, people, the economy, incels, whores.
Okay. I mean, this is insanity.
I mean,
But,
what part of it is like Johnny?
Yeah, but so if a culture produces a higher birth rate, that makes it a superior culture.
that means it's going to sustain itself. If it doesn't produce children, it's going to collapse.
right. But okay, I mean, that's you could come up with a culture where we just have breeding brood mares, that go in and get pumped full of seed, and if they produce, you're saying that's a better culture.
What you and I'm
very
not telling you
procreative, by
that
the
we
way.
should be all Muslims. I'm not saying that at all.
You're just saying it's better than what we have in
No,
the
that's
West.
not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when somebody goes, this is a superior culture to this culture, and I take a look
It can
at the,
still suck and be better. It sucks, but
okay,
it's better.
so it's like it's a sucky better.
Yeah, it's the better of the two. It's
Okay.
It's a lesser
Okay.
of two evils.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when everybody looks back, Johnny, at the glory days, it's never like, oh, you remember when things were great, when kids were trans and everyone had two moms?
Who's looking back? And that's what
That's
we're
what
in
I'm
right
saying.
now. Right?
It's not that. When we
No,
look
right.
back,
Well, I would
we look
take
at 1980s when there was more traditional values.
Yeah, I would take that over
Okay,
this,
exactly.
but I still think this
but that's
is
a
better
traditional
than the
value
burqa.
era.
Right, but I'm saying this is well. They didn't think it was in the '80s, by the way. The
But it
80s
was.
right. But what I'm saying is this and that are superior to what's the women in burqas thing. Is what I'm saying. They all suck. This sucks. What's happening in our culture? Absolutely,
I would
agree.
tell you, Johnny, one is obvious enslavement, and the other one is not obvious enslavement. One is blatantly, you can blatantly see it, and the other one is self-inflicted. So the question becomes, which one's better?
the one that has freedom of choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Johnny, could you pull up the wheel, Plato's wheel of governance, where it talks about?
Yes, got it. Actually, could you get that? Yeah, he's got the TV.
You can pull up the wheel because I mean, you both are right. I mean, nobody wants to have Sharia law.
Yeah, I don't want Sharia law.
Nobody wants that. I mean, that's
It's just better.
The issue is that one culture is making a bet on the future with their birth rates. It doesn't mean that they're right culturally. It's just they believe in the supremacy of themselves. The problem with the ultimate freedom argument too is that what the civilization that gave birth to the freedom is dying. So freedom will die with it because it's becoming a tyranny. It's like Will Durant said: is when the faith dies, the culture dies, the people die. It's the succession.
I totally agree with that, dude.
And Plato has this wheel, which I've found interesting, about how things go in cyclical governance with democracy, then tyranny, and then oligarchy, and it just keeps this wheel continues to go throughout history. And we've reached a point where the civilization that gave birth to the American system is one. It's been targeted psychologically. It's been targeted spiritually. For many reasons, to break it apart, and we're watching that disintegrate before our eyes, and it is tough to watch if you love this
you bring up a really great point. One thing is about the group, and the other one is about the individual. And when the individual is worried about the individual, the group pays a price.
You see that in China too. China has the more communal approach to, where families stick. India too, where families stick
And
together.
Johnny, just so you know, I'm a guy that indulged in all the vices.
Oh, I know. I mean, I was thinking the guy who hosted the naughty show is telling me that burqas
and I
are
would
superior.
tell you that it was detrimental to my life.
Yeah, but that's freedom. There's this phrase that the civil rights lawyer on YouTube uses. It's freedom is scary. And I agree with that. Freedom is scary.
And I'm
but
not
it's the
telling you that
ultimate
we
virtue.
need to lock it down and force women into this and that, but it has had detrimental effects on our society.
What's the
and it's
alternative?
men too. I don't know what the alternative. I can only look at the data and go, this is not good. And it's not just women hoarding themselves. It's incel men who don't want to participate in the mating process anymore through all these psyops of society, the Me Too movement, Hollywood making guys all look dumb and women superheroes. This is all part of a psyop. It's not healthy. It's not healthy.
Because, I mean, if this one keeps going, the other one will survive. It will last. The other culture.
That's what I'm
That's what
saying.
he's saying. If this one keeps going, look at me and Johnny. We don't got kids.
But that's not where we started. But that's where
Yeah, but
we
you
landed,
guys are still young. But Italy is done.
young over
Spain
there,
is
yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Germany is done. They're not having kids.
Yeah, the only European country with a birth rate above replacement levels is Muslim Albania.
Yeah.
No, my answer to that though is more Christianity here in this country where people want to have kids. More traditional values, not
But Johnny,
burqas,
it's Johnny. You're taking emotion and you're applying to the statistics, and the statistics say you're not right.
No, but
We're having a birth rate problem in America.
You can't divine value from statistics. You can't divine moral superiority from statistics. That's just,
But you can tell what's happening in the room.
right.
You can read what's happening in the room. And no matter how much freedom and love and whatever else you want to throw into the stew, it doesn't taste good. It just doesn't. And when the birth rate is crumbling, and it's in the United States too, the birth rate is crumbling, it is detrimental.
I would say that's
to,
more because of a lack of choice, that because of what the government has done.
It doesn't matter what it is.
It does matter what. Of course it does.
Johnny, you're talking in a bubble right now. Unless maybe you just go home and you don't participate in Los Angeles. Just nobody's having kids in this town. I go dude, I was in LA.
Yeah,
we were in
LA,
San
do you
Diego.
think LA
How many people have kids here? In San Diego, how many people have kids? 2 people clap. There was a time when you go to the airport and kids were running around everywhere. You don't see that anymore. Maybe a couple of airports, if you get into more like like Utah and stuff like that, you see kids running around. A lot of these airports, you look around and you go, what is this? Children of men? There's no kids around. Where are they?
To me, that's completely a different argument than what we were talking about, though. The birth rate thing, that's completely different. That's because we've abandoned traditional
values. It's part of the culture,
values.
Johnny. It's part of the culture.
Right, but that's irrelevant to what we were talking about. To me, I don't. That's a completely separate argument.
I don't see it as that at all.
We need to fight for traditional values, Christian values, where people have more kids.
Right, but the Christian values line more.
Christian values aren't better because
we're not
people have
talking
more
Sharia
kids.
law. We're not talking Sharia law. We're talking about Muslims who. Not all Muslims are like, we need Sharia law everywhere. I mean, there are moderate Muslims, and we assassinate them in all these countries and install fucking monsters, right?
There's a lot of bad polling on what the average Muslim believes.
Yeah, because they want you to hate Muslims. And I don't think Muslims are bad people. And I would even tell you that the Muslims that are invading Europe right now are being forced through bombings and war and trauma.
Yes. Yeah. Wahhabism was born out of an intelligence operation.
Yes, dude.
I mean, that's the culminating in 1979 with Al Qaeda, which means the database, not the base. It's the database of Mujahideen and Muslim Brotherhood fighters that was handed over from the British. We took that, and that's where Tim Osman comes from. Like radical
Tim
is
Osman.
that's
There
Tim
we go.
Osman. Osama bin Laden. That's Tim
Yes,
Osman.
there we go, dude.
That's where that comes from. Yeah.
So I mean, you get into it. The first the first king of Saudi Arabia was a British spy.
Right.
The Shah of Iran was British royalty. The guy they want to replace, the guy that's in power right now, British royalty. I mean, it's like, and that's why, like, when everyone's like, America, like our last guest we have that will come out after this episode, but he's like, they're just doing the will of America. I go, or are they doing the will of the British, who are doing the will of the international banking community, who's doing the will of the 13 families? I mean, how far up the chain do you want to go before you start going?
Manufactured enemies.
Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our good friends at Divine Law Masterclass. All right. My fellow conspiracy realists, pay close attention, because what I'm about to share might be the most important shift you ever make in how you protect your family, your mission, and your money in this collapsing clown world. There's a free online event called Divine Law Masterclass. And if you're an entrepreneur, creator, and anyone building something that actually matters, you need to be there. Why? Because your LLC, your trust, your contracts, they're just paper in this Babylonian filing cabinet, okay? Fuck the Babylonians. And if you're still operating under man's jurisdiction, then I hate to say it, but everything you built is exposed to lawsuits, to asset seizures, to systematic collapse. This masterclass is stepping out of the system and back under divine law. You'll learn how to legally and lawfully reposition your assets under heaven's jurisdiction. I like this. I like this a lot. Shield your business and assets using a powerful Trinity model, 501(c)(1)(a), private membership associations, and ecclesiastical trust. And more importantly, align spiritually so your legacy isn't just protected on paper, it's protected by a covenant. Okay? They're breaking down the single spiritual area most high performing leaders make that leave their lives and work wide open to Babylonian claws, those motherfuckers. This isn't a legal loophole. This is kingdom jurisdiction. This is how you become unseizable. Go register now at divinelawmasterclass.com. It's 100% free, but seats are filling up fast. Again, that's divinelawmasterclass.com. Don't wait till it's too late. Don't just wake up, get covered, and we thank them for sponsoring our show. Yeah,
It's like whether it's real or not, but the Albert Pike letter, talking about the different successions of enemies that America or the West will have to set up the wars to provide the hero. We provide, when the people long for a hero, we provide them. And that's just kind of where this cycle that we're in. It's fake wars, bankers' wars, as you always say. And these enemies, it's 9/11, because I was part of the first Army company on the ground.
Did you join after 9/11?
No, I joined before. I volunteered to go to Mr. Clinton's war. I went to Kosovo.
Oh, wow.
After we bombed it for 78 days. I just got to Fort. It was day one of Fort Bragg, and the unit was leaving, so I volunteered to go, and I'm really glad I made that decision. I met so many wonderful people that are still in my life today. And I got back from that, and I was on the U.S. powerlifting team. I did that before I joined the Army, and this was before 9/11, and all of a sudden 9/11 kicks off, and we get deployed. People ask me, "Where were you in Afghanistan? Was it 2002?" I'm like, 2001. Wow. So, there was special ops and Marines, and General Mattis actually briefed us when I got off the plane. Like, we're in Kandahar Airport, so first Army company on the ground in Kandahar, Afghanistan, and got to see some really amazing things. Like, it was. Going back in that time, and you think the picture that was painted was that we're about to erupt into this war of civilizations. It was the evildoers and all this stuff. Well, think about all the time that's elapsed. No caliphate. And, they had the invisible enemy in 9/11 that you can't see the hijackers, like you can't see the virus. The passports found in the rubble, all this stuff. But this there was no arc. That 9/11 was the high water mark of whatever the hell that was, if you were going to believe that narrative. So I agree with, John. You got gays getting thrown off rooftops, and the subjugation of women, all this stuff that's bad in those type of cultures. But it's not like, I think the psyop that we're supposed to buy there is either it's this grotesque view of freedom that we supposedly have. Like, we're going to give them some democracy, kind of the democratized mankind, George W. Bush's kind of thing.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying that Islam is a better version. I'm just saying, when I see like the Sam Harrises of the world telling me that we are morally superior to them, I go, we've waged all the wars. And when
to be clear, I'm not saying that.
No,
either.
and I know you aren't. Because I know what the tweets are going to say. SamTripoli's Islamic sympathizer. I just want people to live your life. I don't give a shit. But it's like, I just look at our culture right now, and it's decaying. And it's not that people shouldn't have free will. I don't believe that at all. I think people should be able to live their life.
What are you willing? I guess the question. What are you willing to?
Let me say this point, and then you could ask a question. When we have free will, that is great. But when you see psychological operations being pushed on that free will to kind of push you in this, like you're going this way, and he goes boop, and now you're going this way, and now you're into somewhere where you're like, what the fuck? You don't realize it's so late into the game.
But what are you willing to do to stop that? Are you willing to take people's freedoms to prevent that from happening?
I'm not giving you a solution. I'm just simply telling you what I'm seeing. Okay? And it's just like, it's not good. And I'm a capitalist to the bone, like pure capitalism. Let the market, like real market, no hidden hands, let people battle it out, and may the winner make the money. I believe in options in life. You should be able to do whatever you want.
I agree.
But whatever is going...
So you do believe that? Okay.
So, but what I'm saying is, whatever is infecting this freedom has caused great damage.
Oh, here's my hypothetical to you. Okay, if to have ultimate freedom, it meant blowing the whole thing, would you take people's freedoms from? Do you think we should, because it seems you're suggesting, right, that this is unsustainable, the birth rates are collapsing, which we see in the numbers. That's true. would you have a totalitarian state to solve that, to force people to breed? Is that what you're saying?
I don't believe in that. I'm not giving us a solution. I'm just simply stating this is what the data is telling us, and it's not healthy. I don't know what the answer to that is, but it's not healthy.
It's not burkas, though. We agree on that.
Okay, yeah.
No,
Maybe
do we
making
agree on
women
that?
dress like ninjas probably isn't the best idea.
Okay.
But also women walking around with their crotches out, do we think that's the best idea as well?
No, but
Even
nobody's
though we
being made
enjoy
to
it.
do that. That's the difference.
So okay, would you say that you like freedom? You just don't like when all you see is Pornhub and all that stuff being tossed to
I
you on
love
Instagram?
freedom. I love freedom of choice. I'm just saying that the tape is played out, and 3/4 of the movie, it isn't looking good for the hero.
See, I don't even think we're 5% into the movie right now.
I think we're way into the movie, Johnny. You think we're 5% into this movie?
I mean, I think we got a lot of runway. Yeah.
I would agree with you because we have fat homeless people.
Yes.
So we're not that like in trouble, but it doesn't seem like it's going to right itself.
Doesn't
I don't know.
it seem like the MAGA thing though? Like people are fed up with that. Like maybe we're getting the wheel back from something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but that is going to involve change, making people change, and maybe not creating laws that change behavior. But creating
making people change.
social pressures
Yes.
to change the way you operate.
Changing hearts.
So that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, again, when I hear Sam Harris try and convince everybody that the West is spiritually or our motives are more what's the word I'm looking for? Pure. We have more pure intentions. Like I just want to smack them.
He sucks. Yeah.
Again, rich kids with bad ideas, and because he can speak elegantly, he's given a platform, and because his mother created Golden Girls, suddenly now he has a fucking voice we gotta listen to, and it doesn't matter how wrong he gets, he still gets platform. So everyone's giving Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan, and Andrew Schultz shit for one episode they had where they had on Donald Trump, right? And they want to destroy their credibility. Yet The Daily Show, Saturday Night Live, all these fucking magazines, all these news agencies have gotten everything wrong the whole time.
That's the way I feel about the Netanyahu thing. That what are you supposed to do? Not have him on? Like you gotta shoot. You just shoot him down, and when you have him on, take him down. You know, don't be. That's how
he scares me, dude.
Yeah,
that's a scary man.
I know.
That's a scary man who's old, and back in his old day, he was in the middle of some nasty shit.
Don't suck his dick like the Nelk Boys did, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to defend the Nelk Boys, but I guarantee you, there's family pressure, business pressure, political pressure to get them to do that.
So crazy.
The Nelk Boys show up in pajamas for the show. Suddenly, they're fucking dressed up in suits.
It couldn't be more of a setup. It was so obvious. It was,
So what I want to get into is, and I'm going to get my dick kicked in the comment section for that because nobody understands nuance, even though the listeners here are very well educated. And
it got more nuanced as we went along, but in the beginning, it was just burkas versus titties.
Fucking crotchless panties.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, what do you think is better? Well, of course, I love seeing crotchless panties, but it's also getting to the point where tits and ass just is losing its effect on me.
Sam's a dad now.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even that, but it is that.
That's why I'd say
that is a point to it. But it really is just like, because, I do this joke, and I don't know if you heard it about me hosting a bikini contest.
Oh, yeah. That why you
and like, it was in 99, and this chick showed her pussy. And like that, in 99, that was a spiritual moment. Like that affected, you're like, I just saw a pussy, dude. And even if and at the time I was like 26 years old or so, it was like, oh.
Is that the one that got you out of the ticket?
Yeah. I'm telling this story, but but now it's everywhere. And it's still, when you see it, you're like, but it's not like it was like, okay, that's great. Yay. And like, but it's not the same thing.
Now I'm just upset I didn't catch it on my phone. Now I'm like, oh man, I missed it.
Shit.
Oh man, back then you were just happy you saw it.
I didn't get to film it. And again, this goes to guys too. They're playing video games all day. They're not participating in society. We've set up this instant gratification world where, like, if they're not CEO of the company, they don't want to work their way up. And which is weird because all they do on video games is work their way up. Like my daughter, that's all they do. My daughter literally does long tasks on this video game, and I don't know how she enjoys it.
It's dangerous. That is dangerous, dude, because it's stroking the same brain centers. Yeah, exactly. That you would normally stroke by accomplishing things in the real world.
Yes.
And satisfying that. And it's so fucking dangerous, bro.
And, it's like, that's why I turned off Grand Theft Auto. It's like, I'm just working here. This guy's I'm his fucking mule. I'm his gopher, dude. Go get weapons over here. I'm like, when do we bang the chicks and do the blow?
And
I gotta fucking
when
run around.
A brain chip and you're living it. I mean,
see, okay, games
World's
sound like
over.
fun when there's actually money to make. Because that's how I think about it. I'm like, I'm just working here when I could actually be doing something. I maybe meeting someone at the store, networking. But I'm like, but when you can make some money in the game, it's gonna make it worse for these kids.
well, that's already happened.
Just
You
think
saw
about it.
overseas in like Thailand or something. They have this game where they earn crypto, this token, and it's like a job for some of these guys. They're making like real livings, earning this. I can't remember. It's some crazy game.
And once you start making a living off of it, you can't go off of it.
They're having a population problem. No one wants to bang Asian chicks, dude.
Which is crazy.
I can't believe it. It's like nobody, dude, nobody wants to bring Japanese bitches. Like, are we serious here?
Bring him here.
That used to be a fetish. Now it's gone.
It's it's
gone.
detrimental. It's detrimental. But I want to ask you something. So, even though the episode we recorded before he was coming out after, there was a moment in which he was talking about the Houthis, Yemen, their control of the Red Sea or the Caspian Sea, I forget whichever one it was. And they were hitting like U.S. tankers and stuff like that. And it really affected me because I was like, part of me is like, my heart goes out to the Palestinian people, and they're trying to help the Palestinian people. But they're also hitting our boys and girls. So, like, what is your take on that?
Well, ultimately, if I was there and I was defending my position or protecting the person next to me, I do what I have to do.
Right.
And you have to support that. The people in uniform aren't policymakers.
Yes.
They're not ordering the bombs to be dropped. They're not ordering the assassination of supposed enemy combatants or bombing wedding parties with drones. They're not doing that from their own.
They're not choosing
from their own
to do
free
that.
will.
They're following orders.
And this is war. I mean, we're in kinetic war all over the world and have been since the beginning of time. It's never been just just world peace, unless you're thinking about like a Pax Romana or something, and that wasn't even real peace. It was just absolute tyrannical control by the Roman Empire. So, I mean, I look at it, I try to be as nuanced as I can because I'm anti-war. I mean,
I'm anti-war,
every
too.
day before any study that I do, I go to antiwar.com. I think that's a great outlet. I start there to see what's going on geopolitically, because that's usually the shoe to drop. If you can get a sense of what's going to happen in the future by whatever kinetic things are going, whatever policies leading to war, because then you can look at the region where most of the news is going to come out of. And I've been, when I came on the show last time, I talked about the story of the oracle that told Croesus, who was the first person to put gold coins into circulation in Lydia, the king of Lydia, and had the run-in with the oracle, who said, he asked the oracle, if I attack Persia, what will happen? The oracle said, if you attack Persia, a great empire will fall. So he attacked Persia, which is Iran, and his empire crumbled. The oracle of Delphi didn't say which one it was.
Yeah.
So I was seeing that on the horizon and that's before Trump was inaugurated. By the way, this was December 4th of 2024, and that's when the Bitcoin hit its first time. It hit 100,000 when I was on last time. And a lot has happened since then. I mean, just massive moves in the financial markets and everything. Well, I've got a better picture now, understanding where we're going with things like CBDC and where we're going with foreign policy than I did then. I was really trying to step back and without any, without any dog in the fight, without any preconceived hobby horses in that. You know, I was going to say, what's going to happen next? And I try to really just remove myself. And now I think I see a better picture of what unfolds, especially since I think the last 30 days have been absolutely revealing. But unfortunately, we're in a season of war, Sam, and that's, you're going to be somebody who's served and who loves his country, and I have a great deal of empathy for those who serve now.
Yeah, I get that.
And I look at them and I think, my God, the policies of this country are so skewed. It's like a funhouse mirror version of itself. I mean, you even go back to the time of Smedley Butler, who wrote War is a Racket. He was the most highly decorated Marine Corps general ever. But at the time, he died in 1941, conveniently for the establishment. But he wrote that book, and he said, War is a Racket, at the end of his career, he says, I didn't make the world safe for democracy. I made the world safe for the United Fruit Company. So nobody is more, I think, in a better position to be anti-war or to push back against aggressive imperialistic foreign policy than a combat veteran, somebody who's seen it. That's why you always should be suspect of a, and this is my opinion, but a combat veteran like a Dan Crenshaw out of Texas, 2nd Congressional District, which is conveniently I ran in the 4th Congressional District for Congressman. Conveniently, the 2nd Congressional District was Charlie Wilson. Anybody remember the movie with Tom Hanks?
Yeah, Charlie Wilson's War. Yeah,
and that's where they replaced that. It's kind of interchangeable, but he remember, if you watch that movie, he says, "Well, I'm Israel's guy on the hill. I come from a district that doesn't want anything. They want low taxes. They want their guns, and so I get to do a lot of favors." And if you remember that line. And then you get a guy like Crenshaw who gets visibly upset when you talk about pulling troops out of anywhere. He just has this Syria, Afghanistan, he can't stand it. And he's kind of dropped off the map a little bit lately. He hasn't shown his face a lot. But in the discourse for years and years, he was the go-to. That's what you think of when you think of as a veteran. And I'm thinking, what lessons did he learn from any of his service? And of course, by the way, I'm not a pacifist. I think you should be prepared. Like George Washington, if you want to secure peace, you prepare for war. I think you should have a strong military. I think you should have, and we don't even use our military for the things they should be used for. I mean, the southern border is another thing. You talk about this may be just by a psyop in and of itself, but we talk about these deportations that these countries are waiting on people that never show up, by the way, sub-Saharan Africa and Mexico. Where are these people that you're supposedly mass deporting back to us? And then we see these, like, for effect, you'll see kids getting taken out of, graduation ceremonies and stuff like that. And I'm like, what is exactly happening when we have a border that is still porous, and we're just Sherpas, usually just taking people to holding areas and then shipping them into the interior? And I don't understand that when you have real combatants. I mean, it's not just people. I mean, yes, there's migrant people, and there's probably a system for that, so they find work, all that stuff that can be regulated. But they have people in fatigues, and they're running operations on the southern border. It's an ecological disaster. I mean, it's a national security concern. But when you ask somebody in the defense establishment, I think they had the Undersecretary of Defense on a few years ago, and he asked Congress, when can we get back to our traditional role and away from the border? They want to get out into the empire. I'm like, that's the mindset of the modern defense establishment and those who come out of these think tanks, and it's really alarming. I think we need an America First, or going back to the founding. We used to read George Washington's farewell address in Congress up until the 1930s, and it talked about no entangling alliances, and and Thomas Jefferson's peace, commerce, and honest friendship. We have to get back to that. And you mentioned this whole thing about culture and freedom, and it reminded me of like the juxtaposition between the American Revolution, which in my opinion was a conservative revolt against a British empire who had become imperialistic. They are overstretched. They abandoned things like the Magna Carta and representation and parliamentary government to colonize. And the colonists, had the American Revolution. The French Revolution, however, was a bloodletting. It was the reign of terror. I mean, and it was, all these atheists chopping people's heads off and tearing down religious icons and digging up dead bodies and reburying them. And I mean, it was demonic. It was the mob.
Pure id. Yeah.
Yes.
Just unleashed primal rage.
Yes. So revenge. It was against what they called the Ancien regime. And how'd that work
nicotine,
out?
dude? Do you do any
Sure,
nicotine?
I'd love some.
Here's a Tic Tac. Try
A
it.
Tic Tac nicotine.
I think it might be only.
Do
a
you chew?
3.
Do you chew it?
No, just put it in your thing and just sit there. It's the best.
That's good.
I have people send it to me. You know, I love it.
Well, I started chewing tobacco when I was like, I shouldn't even say it, it's a young age. I'm from North Texas. And I have psyche. I'm not dead yet, which I should be. I mean, statistically, shouldn't I?
You know what's so funny is that I heard Tucker Carlson say something. We could have a debate about him and what his role is. But he goes, ever since I just started doing nicotine, I never get sick. I've never got, and I started thinking about that. I've been doing it for, I'd say like 5 months now, and I don't remember the last time I got sick.
Well, we had that guest on, right? Who said that it's like a cure-all almost. That was the suggestion.
Well,
My problem is I only got 3s, and I'm a 6er.
when I was a kid, they would. This was an open acknowledgement when I was a kid, was that chewing tobacco was a dewormer. Because they actually used tobacco for infestations on, like, for plants and things, like they would to debug something, and so you'd hear, like, there's a Johnny, do you know the singer Robert Earl Keen? No. I thought you might from North Carolina, but there's a singer. He's an independent guy from Texas, and he has a song called Copenhagen, and he's the beginning of the song. He says, since I've been chewing since I was a kid, I never had a problem with worms or long relationships. And it's always stuck out because it's in some way, and maybe I'm not a scientist. That's a reflexive statement from the COVID era. But I'm wondering if it's anti-parasitic.
I wouldn't doubt it, dude. I wouldn't doubt it. I've just, sometimes I get tired, but outside of that, I haven't felt sickness. I haven't felt any of that stuff.
It's probably too soon, but I mean, the reason no one does chewing tobacco because of gum disease. At least I remember growing up, you'd be like, well, can't you just chew it? And they'd be like, oh, you get gum disease, and you watch these videos with Dare and all that. That's too soon? No one knows if it has anything linked to that?
I'm not going to say in a year from now, I could be like, yeah, I got to get fucking fake teeth. But, I think a lot of that is just a psyop to get you off of nicotine. And because we associate nicotine with smoking and then cancer.
Yes.
But it's the smoke that gives you a problem. It's
the foreign. I had a doctor when I was a kid. I'm still friends with him. He was my dad's best friend, and I remember I was working for. I was 14. I was over at his house working for him in North Texas, and he just pulled out a can of snuff and then he took it and bit into it like that. He was like, I don't use I do too much stuff with my hands. So he would bite it. He was so good at chewing. He would bite it. It was perfect. He'd put it in his lip. And I looked at him, and he goes, "I'm a doctor. I'm not God." and I said, "That's interesting." He was like, He goes, "In my opinion, it's the foreign substance. It's not really the nicotine or the
100%."
He goes, "It's the foreign substance sitting on your gums." He's like, "You guys got to move it around." Huh. I've never had I've been chewing tobacco for. I'm aging myself. It's been over 30 plus years, and I've never had a dentist go, I see some bad spots. And of course, I don't try to overdo it. I mean, these last few years, I've done more than I had in the last, for about 20 years, I was like, I'm going to do one a day. I'll do one chew a day. And now I got the pouches and stuff.
I love it. And I could Zyn all day. Yeah. But I find Zyns compared to these things have more of a acidic. It's like super strong in the way it delivers the nicotine. These are like little subtle. I know they're 3, so I got to bump it up. But
you don't worry about instant gratification from this? Like, is that
Johnny, I'm not perfect.
A genuine question. No,
He's
but
not a doctor.
Like, is that,
Sam's not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor.
No, but seriously, do you worry that it's you're getting like a buzz off of it?
Yeah, I probably am getting a little buzz off it, but I'm a human being.
Right. I'm
cutting out everything in my life
because it seems to be that's one of the great
loopholes. My knees are hurting now because I gotten so fat, so it's time to drop some lbs.
That's kind of one of the
That's
AA
Mother
loopholes,
Nature
right?
saying drop weight. Whenever my knees start to hurt, okay, time to drop some weight, and I'm going to do it. I'm just super. I'm starting to get really disciplined in a lot of ways. These shows have been affecting me, and I just want to make sure everyone understands the question I asked Tony. I'm anti-war. I'm pro-people. I don't want anyone to die, But when we're smuggling arms over there, it's hard to understand that you're a part of that. And I want everyone to come home safe. I want everyone's kids to come home safe. And I want all the Palestinians' kids to come home safe. I want all the Iranian kids to come home safe. That's just what I want. I would like to say war isn't natural, but it's been such a part of our existence for so fucking long. And it just, rich people just want to go to war with rich people. And then they end up being friends with them after.
Yeah, I think that was so important to see what Tucker Carlson did to Ted Cruz. Because it makes Ted Cruz look as he should be, as a failure.
He looks like a bitch.
He does.
Yeah.
And this intellectually shallow, this should have been rooted out of the so-called conservative movement years and years ago. But
it was.
It's
I
on
think
the
it's
on the
happening
surface.
now.
It is now, and I see like the high water mark of AIPAC and the Israeli law. Those years are past. I mean, they still have a big grip on the Republican Party, or whatever you want to call it, the Conservative Party. Was it John Stuart Mill said there's two parties? There's the dangerous party and the stupid party. I belong to the stupid party. I belong to neither. I try to be objective as possible, but I do. I mean, like we talked about traditionalism and morality and what makes civilization. These are the big questions, because with the acid of modernity is worse than what a foreign army can do to you. I mean, it's just we're being destroyed through psyops and spiritual warfare.
Yes,
and
that's what I'm saying. That's what I tried to make earlier.
I mean, what are we exporting at this? We were having a conversation off camera about music before the show, and Ozzy just died, and we used to have like these. We'd export things, for good or ill. It was, Coca-Cola and free markets and music and television and all this stuff. And it's like, what are we doing now? And we just look at the Bush years of exporting bombs and lies.
You mean democracy? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Democratize mankind. I looked at the picture here of the George W. Bush throwing
We got George W. Bush there. We got Bill Clinton here.
My mom worked for a dentist office, and that's where he got his teeth cleaned in Dallas. And my mom ran the dentist office at the time, and I got so close because I said, Mom, I'm going to get this book called My Pet Goat. Would you have him sign it for me?
Bro, you would have got your mom in so much trouble.
I thought about it. My conscience was like, don't do it. It's going to get a weird reaction. Would you sign? My son really wanted you to sign My Pet Goat.
Oh my
been so
God.
Oh, you wouldn't be here right now.
But the rebranding of him. These
crazy.
giant stadiums in Texas, and they're cheering him when he's throwing a ball. And I just dude, this guy slaughtered 1 million people.
Did you? I mean, even so, if the Bushes, and you think, oh, this is a callous family, and they are. But even them, did you see his speech when he was talking about Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine? And he said this. We can pull it up if you can find it, but. He has this moment where he has this Freudian slip reading his own text where he says the madman's invasion of Iraq or something like that. Iraq's not in the line. It's his own mind.
So interesting, right?
And I thought,
the guilt.
wow.
Well, they think that he went back to drinking, and he blames it on Dick Cheney. And I would tell you that
In contrast,
All right, hold on. I think this is. I might have to hold on just 1 second. Boy, he's looking old. Oh man.
He even says that he goes, I'm 70. He does this thing trying to laugh it off. But
do you get the sense that he deep down has some guilt about it? Because I feel like he might be guilty. I think that deep down he might suspect that he just completely fucked everything up and murdered
so bad.
Millions of people. All right.
Could you live with it?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to probably seppuku, right? Hold on just a second.
Yeah, seppuku.
No, truly though. I mean, if you had to live with what that guy did, all right. Actually, is that over there? Do you have it over there?
It's here.
Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq. I mean, of Ukraine.
Jeez.
Iraq, too. Anyway.
Iraq, too. A rat too.
Wow.
Wow.
He's starting to look like his dad right there.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah.
How old is he right there?
I think he's got to be well into his 70s.
Yeah, maybe.
How long? They go old, huh?
Well, yeah.
The Bushes? Yeah,
they
the
go
Bushes go
old.
old. Yeah, he's 79 now, getting near 80.
It's crazy to me, dude. It's just crazy to me. And then they just get treated like heroes. Their kids are
Crazy.
You know, that kid from Channel 5, we watched that video the other day on Broken Sim.
Hunter Biden, yeah.
And it's just like, oh, you know, everyone's like, we're interviewing this crazy crackhead. You're like, he molested his dead brother's daughter. Like, nobody talks about that. Like, it's such a dark thing that we can't even look into. We can't even understand it. So we just push it out. And it's taken, how long we've been talking about satanic pedophiles? It has to be like really hard about it since 2015. Like, that's when Pizzagate and all that stuff came out, right? That it's 10 years later, dude. And now people are finally at gunpoint forced to understand that we're ran by pedophiles.
You know who finally brought it up? Tucker Carlson. He talks about going there, and he's not saying that there was anything there, but he's like, the artwork in those people's houses, it's weird. It's to show us. I don't know. He got real deep with his latest guest, and it was just weird how
Where are
he
you
brought
talking
it.
about? Epstein's house? Or
No, the
Marina
Podesta
Brown's?
house, the Podesta house,
Oh, the
the
Podesta
Marina house, how they buy this artwork from these people purposely. And there's people that have been, like, one of the artworks that they buy is from some girl that was molested her whole life. And she's doing it for trauma, but they're giving her money. And she keeps producing them because obviously someone keeps buying them.
Do you guys think that Trump letter's real?
Has he said it's not real?
Well,
That's the $10
he
billion
said it's a forgery. Yeah. He's
Could
suing
be.
them.
My question was,
It's creepy.
it was a collection of letters, and I don't believe anybody else in the collection said it wasn't. Nobody else recanted, said that's not me either.
Super
Yeah,
interesting.
I mean, it had like pictures. Let me see if I can find that.
But again,
That's
like,
really strange.
what's the
Yeah.
best way to demoralize the base is to get him in and then out him as the guy. You all voted for him again. You voted for him to take down the deep state, and now you find out he's as deep state can get.
Damn.
That's a great demoralization. It's way more effective than destroying him when he's running.
Right?
Remember Drain the Swamp?
Because he's
He was a swamp.
he's a martyr.
Now your boy
And what
is the guy
greater
you.
sacrifice than on high?
Yep.
Right. The greatest. Nixon said that about himself. He says the highest place of all. You know, the sacrifice of the king.
But even Nixon plays the game because he even knows it's not a wiretap.
Oh, correct.
It's a bunch of
Watergate
hookers.
is why this is one of my hobbies.
I
Just
love it,
looking
dude.
into Watergate and the history of that. I've seen Oliver Stone's Nixon more than Oliver Stone. It's one of my favorite film. For years. You know, I watched that movie because I just had that fascination with that time period, the post Eisenhower, the Camelot, and then the shattering of that, and what Nixon knew. And if you watch the movie Nixon from Stone, there's all this coded wording in it. If you actually watch, like he'll talk about Howard Hunt and these people that were CIA operatives, and he goes, I know who he is and who he tracks back to. And Track 2 was the thing that they ran, the CIA with the vice presidency while he was with Eisenhower to take out, assassinate leaders and things, like trying to go after Castro, but going after South American and African leaders and people in Europe. And
Castro's dick's so
blood.
good. Castro dropped such good dick, she couldn't even assassinate him. He knocked the bottom out of it so hard. She's like, you don't run by dick like this all the time. I'm not going to assassinate you. You just got to let me come back.
So funny.
Right? Because she was there.
Trudeau's dad.
Oh, is he? That was his job?
Justin Trudeau. Well, no, I'm saying.
Well, yeah. You look at her; she is staring him with cocks out beyond. Absolutely.
Have you ever seen there was a great video somebody put together of her just like putting her hands on him, and I just, Fidel, and then you see like pictures side by side. I mean, come on.
I just think that is what they do up there. Is they all just
bloodlines,
and it's even like just like a festival of cucking. Where like they do these eyes wide shut parties, and if your lady gets pregnant, you raise the kid like it's yours, and they all do it to each other.
And they're going to set them up anyways.
I mean, like nobody thinks that. I mean, some people think that Charles, Prince Charles. No, there's Andrew and William that they think Prince William is Charles' son, but he doesn't. He looks like that.
You're talking about Harry and William, right?
Which one's the bald one?
William.
William. Some people think William is like that.
Here's
that
the text of that letter that Trump is supposed to have sent. It says voiceover at the top. There must be more to life than having everything. And then it's like a script between a fictional script. It says, Donald, yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. And then Jeffrey responds, nor will I, since I also know what it is. And then Donald, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey says, yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald says, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? And then Jeffrey says, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. And then Donald says, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday. May every day be another wonderful secret. If he really sent that, that's just damning. He's a creep too.
Yeah, I think we know he's a creep, but how much of a creep?
Like maybe as bad as it gets. If he really sent that,
That's pretty evil.
but he's suing and he has pulled out all the stops to prove that he didn't. I mean, he's he's really going hard saying this is not. It had pictures and stuff. Like, do you imagine Trump drawing pictures? Probably not, right? Like,
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
maybe somebody else did it
That
for
could
him.
be a forgery. I mean, it's definitely in the realm of
Wall Street Journal's
possibility.
got to have some balls though to print it.
But
They
that's
don't
a
know it.
suicide note if for either of them, for either Trump or the Washington. Two men enter,
Yep.
one man leaves.
That's it. Yep.
And whoever's wrong on that isn't going to recover from that.
He
ever.
could own that place if they end up proving that they knew it was or should have known that it was a forgery and printed it. He'll end up owning the fucking Wall Street Journal.
Think about the larger question, and that is, why didn't this come out before?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, all of the sleuthing and all of all the detective, where everybody looking for every chink in the armor, and then you get to this point where the zenith of his power in a second, to coming back for a second, the first time since Grover Cleveland. You know, Grover Cleveland, he had a second term as non-sequential.
Yeah.
The only other president. And I just look at that and wonder, what does this mean?
That's what Sam's always saying. It's the height of demoralization. It could not be more demoralizing.
Yeah, everything must be looked through the lens of demoralization. They are trying to demoralize you at everything. It's G. Edgar Griffin's pressure from above,
Yes,
pressure from below. And it's doing that when when all these Western countries release child molesters, murderers, they don't make them stay in jail if they're of a certain ethnic group. And that's demoralization. So now you don't feel on the streets, and then you feel safe on the streets, and then you don't feel safe that the politician's going to do anything about it. And that demoralizes you to the point you beg them to save you, which is martial law. And we ran the what was his name? The former CIA guys, Sean Ryan.
Oh yeah.
We ran his clip, and he didn't ask. I guess he asked him some hard.
Well, via Rogan, I guess. Like, he had the out of like, hey, I got a text from Rogan. Let's ask this question.
But I mean, like, this guy walks around like nobody knows all the stuff that he did.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how do you think you're going to run? How are you going to grab the South? If you don't get the South, you're never going to win an election.
He has no chance getting the South.
Where do you think Ghislaine ends up?
I think they're going to get her out. A demoralization.
Dude,
Her and
would
P.
take,
Diddy start a new
Imagine.
label.
I mean, that would take Trump though, like giving her a pardon, which would.
And then it's over.
I mean, yeah, it's over at that point.
I think whatever MAGA was intact is over. I don't think America First is over, or nationalism,
I don't
or anything
either.
like that. But it's taken. I mean, this is a huge blow to that.
It's funny. I saw a tweet today where one of these liberal insane people was like, I guess Gen Z turning conservative lasted like half a year because it showed polling that their support for Trump had gone way down, and then everybody was like, no, you're misreading that completely.
Yeah.
They're actually more extreme on this issue than you realize.
Yeah.
And they don't.
You can't capture that.
Johnny, I said that like what? Like 2 months into Trump's
Well, it was
term.
Gen Z Republicans, to be fair.
Right.
But yeah.
I turned 2 months into Trump's second term. I go, dude, this Zionist thing's going to cost him his base. And I got yelled at by a lot of great content creators were like, "Are you high? Did you relapse? Did you do all that shit?" And I go, "Dude, I'm watching it happen, man. It's like he's gonna lose his fucking base." And you know, Fox News just got busted lying about his poll numbers.
Wait, what were they?
Fox News was inflating his poll numbers, saying he's doing
Really?
better than he is, and he's not. And that's why this Obamagate shit's starting to come out again, which we know will result in nothing.
It's like you'd be in jail. You know, that was such a moment, and we're right. I mean, it was so masterful, the buttons that he was able to push. I remember watching in the primary, the Republican primaries, 2015, 2016, watching Trump. He was on live television talking about Ted Cruz's dad, Rafael Cruz. He's like, and where was he, you know, during the death of JFK? It's crazy. Like, he was insinuating, it's like a National Enquirer, you know, story about
There's pictures
Rafael.
with him next
Well,
to Lee
yes.
Harvey Oswald. It's
But he
crazy.
called it out. I mean, and he goes, well, I just want to know where he was during the death. That's what he said. And I watched that live. I go, holy hell. This is uncharted. And the same thing happened was when he said about McCain. I like people that weren't captured.
That's crazy, dude. I mean, like the balls on him.
I'm like, that was a reflexive, no thought, just hit back, hit harder. And it cost him nothing. I said, this is going to be something different than we've ever seen. And Tucker Carlson said this, and you don't have to be a huge fan of Tucker Carlson, just recognize he's right. He wrote that book, Ship of Fools. He said, happy countries don't elect Donald Trump. Happy countries don't do that. We're not a happy country. There's so many things happening to us, and whether, you know, the average person has to work so much harder to get ahead, just to put food on the table because of that currency issue, which, you know, that's my wheelhouse, and they can't keep up with everything that's being thrown at them at once. Even content creators, or if you're in this business, like I do a weekly radio show. I used to do daily radio. I can't do it. I have too much going on because in order to stay up with everything, just to put that in your mind it's a daunting task. They're throwing so much at us at one time, running Psyop on top of Psyop.
And the whole thing with the Obamagate thing is that it is a giant issue.
Is that Russiagate?
Well, it's Russiagate in the fact that, you know, this sets the precedence to say that Russia hacked the election.
Just the forgery.
Which, you know, I got in a big argument with Dylan on Conspiracy Social Club. He's like, they never said it. I go, they totally said it. This is what I do. This is like, that was one of the big things that I was really like early on. If you watch my first appearance at a Jimmy Dore Live, right? Dude, I broke it down for him. The whole thing from Stephen Helpler or Harper, whatever, the spook that was teaching in England at the time, was an old CIA spook who helped spy on Jimmy Carter for George Bush. Stephen Helpler, I think is his name. You know, like I broke it all down, and it is worse than Watergate what they did. It's not even close to Watergate. Watergate, what we're sold on is that he was just trying to get a head up on his competition. That's what we're sold on, right? But the truth of the matter is that was about escorts and shit like that. And if you know even more, tell me. But this is about a guy who won an election and them trying to figure out how they can basically kick him out and insert her, in which there's no legal mechanism for that to happen. They were going to have to completely rewrite the laws to insert her in. And that's what they attempted to do. They're like, we'll worry about that later. Let's just destroy his credibility. And for 4 years, that's what they ran on. So that's what I talk about when they try to discredit all these guys that had Trump on the podcast for one episode, and they don't look at the 4 years of Rachel Maddow or the 4 years of CNN, and whether it was Russiagate, whether it was COVID, whatever it was, the lie after lie, the Ukraine lie after lie, they're still going. None of the progressive left of Hollywood is calling them out to be gone. Obamagate, Russiagate is treason at its highest level. And for no one to be able to put, and this is why when I say common sense is the new punk rock, common sense would say, party loyalty aside, America first, these people are treasonous fucking pieces of shit. and they need to pay a price for that. It doesn't happen anymore. If Benedict Arnold committed treason today, he would be a talking head on MSNBC.
You're so right, dude. That's
Pat
so
Buchanan
funny.
made that joke about Alger Hiss, who Nixon, that was how Nixon started his career, is he exposed Alger Hiss, who had worked for the Roosevelt administration and was at Yalta with Roosevelt and was trading, insider secrets and things to the Russians, the Soviets directly because of his upbringing. He was Eastern establishment, so they had sympathy for communism. Joe McCarthy wasn't a nut job.
He wasn't wrong.
Well, it's funny today. It's like if you wanted to see the communists in the State Department, you just go and hit print on the employee roster, because it wouldn't be a huge stretch to see the Marxist at heart because of the university system and everything that goes along with that. So we're not far removed from any. Gore Vidal said this. He's like, it's not a conspiracy per se. It's just they all think alike. The establishment. Yeah. It's that Matt Damon movie, The Good Shepherd. Going
great
back
film, by the way. Yeah.
You go back to who started the Central Intelligence Agency, and for what ends. They have their own agenda. They have their own policy.
Yeah, it's actually a term, and I want to find it because I butchered the term. Korenizatsia. It's Korenizatsia, and it's an actual term where the communists insert party loyalties at every PowerPoint, and that is diversity. That is diversity right there.
Korenizatsia.
Yep, that's it. Korenizatsia. That is it.
Korenizatsia.
And Hollywood is the best example of that. The executive board knows nobody's watching anything, and the consumer isn't watching anything, but the middle doesn't fucking care because they got rid of any dissension, and it's all party loyalties at every single fucking point of the food chain.
It's funny, those old, Stanley Kubrick made fun of these, through Jack D. Ripper, and Dr. Strangelove, because he won't drink the water because it has fluoride in it. He only drinks distilled liquors and distilled water. It was like this caricature of an anti-communist back in the late 50s and going into the 60s. But a lot of those old Cold Warriors were right about a lot of stuff. It was the implementation of the intellectual seeds. It was the Frankfurt School. That's where you get the intellectuals that were kicked out of Hitler's Germany in the 1930s that fled to the United States, that were welcomed here, and they set up shop. And this is cultural Marxism. That's where you get the acid of modernity has been accelerated. We rarely had any time in between the startup of this country and the Industrial Revolution to have any civilization in between. We just got robbed of that because of these psyops and things like the implementation of communism by other means. That's what the Frankfurt School figured out. These were ardent Marxists, and they didn't like the Soviet Union. They agreed with Trotsky more than they did with Stalin. They believed that, you could take over, you could have the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, and you could control from the top down, but the people's hearts and minds weren't captured. So they had to start from the bottom and work its way up, and this is flourishing now. We live in a society, we want to have rule of law, we want to have equal justice under law, and whatever, all the things that the Bill of Rights affords. But again, it creates this blowback especially if we don't have a culture to support it, and then you just end up with tyranny. I think that's the danger that's posed right now.
And it's really weird to me because if you go, okay, you want to, what the Marxists want is like a level playing field, right? Where everyone gets to start. And it's, in a weird way, pure capitalism is that. Pure capitalism is if you work hard enough, you have the right idea, you can flourish. But they don't want that. They came here and they realized that it was so good they were never going to flip it. So their whole goal was, let's decay it from the inside.
It's like Cloward and Piven. You get the Cloward and Piven system is just to make things so bad that the system collapses in on itself, and then you can insert your ideology. It's like you have to put this poison pill into our culture to create what is happening now. So it all falls apart. You don't have that moral strength and fiber. It's like if you think about somebody like George Washington. You had, after his presidency was ending, Mad King George III said, if George Washington goes home to his farm, he's going to be the greatest man who ever lived. because they'd never seen anything like that. That's where you have the Order of the Cincinnatus, based off the Roman general Cincinnati, who was called to serve, came and took over the army, fought the battles, won, then went back to his farm and relinquished power. Now we have people seeking power for its own sake, and I think that's because it's a lack of any sort of character. If you look around, you go to Washington, D.C., you want to delouse yourself. You want to get away from that. Like I ran for Congress. I got to be really good friends with the last World War II veteran in Congress. His name was Ralph Hall, and Texas guy. I've been a Blue Dog Democrat, then switched to Republican. I got to be really good friends with him. He told me how a lot of things actually worked. And he was one of the last old school politicians that could run on a low budget, just go shake people's hands and drive around the district. I mean, you can't do that now. He got beat, by the way, and they'd send me out to do debates with a guy named John Radcliffe, who's now the head of the Central Intelligence Agency. So,
dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, they'd say, and I liked John. I met him. We were in meetings, with the Dallas Morning News, and I remember being with John in the Dallas Morning News, and they said, "No, John, you're the only one here that's actually taken on terrorism in the group of candidates." And I go, "Well, I was in 3 foreign," but they were talking about his time in the Justice Department. They just totally ignored me.
Yeah.
And they looked at him.
That's the Ross Perot debate with Clinton and George Bush, that they just ignored him.
Just ignored, yeah. And I learned a lot from that, though. And we're just in a different era, or error, if you want to put it that way, where it's gotten so bad, and the money that it takes to just be part of that club, and Congress has abdicated so much of its power. Those mechanisms have to work themselves out. I don't think that you should. What do I say on my show? If the Tower of Babel's falling over, get out of the way.
Let it fall.
Yeah, just get out of the way, trying to prop it up. I think you can make a lot, like what you're doing and what people that are seeking truth and trying to make a business for themselves, and don't buy into the black pill movement that everything is, I can talk about the collapse of the dollar, but I think there's opportunity in that. I think there's some people that are going to get hurt, but that's history. I think that if you know what's coming, you'll be better prepared for it. You can't stop it. Nobody in this room can stop the changing monetary system or how that's going to affect people, but you can change how you view the world. You can change your thoughts. I think every day I try to read at least 2 pages of Joseph Murphy. You know who Joseph Murphy is? You'd like him. He was an old writer from the 60s and 70s, and he wrote about the power of your subconscious mind and what you talk about and how it's the imprint on your mind, all the words that you use and the visions that you have. Every word that's why it's magic. That's why it's called spelling. And I think that
whoa,
you know that.
No, yeah, now I do.
Yeah, it's every word. I was talking to the Uber driver that took me over here. We were talking about that exact thing, and we said, "Yeah, you have a good energy," because I was talking to him about just the financials. He said, "But yeah, that's scary, but you don't say it in a way that's, beating people over the head. It's gonna be bad,
That's crazy.
Spelling is where you get that.
I never even thought about that. Did you know that?
Yeah. I mean, you've heard it, right, Johnny?
You knew when writing is spelling? Yeah. I mean, I know it's called spelling.
Right. But spelling is a spell.
Occult mysticism type of way. Did you know that?
Yeah, right, Johnny? You've heard it, right?
We've had someone say it a time or two. Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, magic.
Maybe I'm just dumb.
No, we do. You do a lot of podcasts. I don't expect you to get. So do I. But
let me go through it.
I want to ask you guys a question about McCarthy really quick. Don't you think his mistake was using the government to try to crush those people rather than just fighting bad ideas with good ideas? Don't you? I mean, because I'm talking about not people in government that were traitors, but people in Hollywood that were.
What's your thoughts? And I have a thought.
Yeah, I'm really curious what you guys think about that. Because I don't think that the government should be wielded that way against artists and stuff.
I think McCarthy came at it from a moralistic way. He used the power of the Senate, and let's not forget who worked for him. He was really good friends. He dated the Kennedy's daughter,
Roy Cohn too. Yeah.
Roy Cohn. That's that. I was going to get to that. But he was very well accepted. Very good friends with John F. Kennedy. As a matter of fact, when they voted to censure McCarthy, Kennedy didn't vote. He abstained from voting. That's how close the Kennedys were to McCarthy. And the Roy Cohn aspect, I've always wondered about that because Cohn was his right-hand man.
Bulldog.
And you're almost like a setup in some way.
That's where I was going to go.
It was like too over the top. And then it was a guy named Welch. And you can. It's a famous clip where he asks,
Honest to God, yeah.
Because Welch was he kind of set back. They put this guy from the army because
I'll pull it.
people knew in the public view that the military in that time had such good standing. It's like when Truman fired MacArthur. It was such massive blowback. How dare you fire the greatest general of all time? For valid reasons he did. I love MacArthur just about more than anybody in history.
Have you no sense of decency?
But you have no, and that's Welch.
After long last.
At long last, sir.
All right, here we go. This is just a very short version of it right here. I'm coming over there, XG, just 1 second.
Yeah, it was.
All right, here it is. You got it?
Yep. Give me one. Come on, baby.
Let us not assassinate this lad further, Senator. You've done enough. Have you no sense of decency, sir? At long last, have you left no sense of decency?
That finished him right there.
If you go, Sam, what do you think? What is the hidden hand in there? I think that communist witch trial was a lot like Satanic Panic, where they set up something that they know is coming. And they create this kind of like hysteria to make people think like that crazy. So you have John McCarthy hunting communists. It's a giant fiasco. Everybody's like, dude, this guy's out of control. And now when people bring it up, they're like, oh, is this a Red Scare again? It's the same thing that they did with Satanic Panic. Anybody who starts going, dude, these people all worship saying, oh, Satanic Panic again. Even though McCarthy's right, and all the Satanic Panic people were right. That kids school. What am I looking? What's the word I'm looking for? The daycare was 100% involved in child sex crimes. They find tunnels later. How does that not come out till much later? Because it was controlled. It was a controlled burn. And even the West Memphis 3, which if you talk to most people that have really studied it, not just read articles that the mainstream media wrote, but actually look at all of the police reports on it, those kids did it, or at least Damon Nichols did it.
Damon Eccles
did it. I mean, but now when people start going, Nas X worship saying, Satanic Panic, dude. What are you, one of those idiots? And it's just like, that gives them the out.
Well, the deeper that you dig about communism and its role in the United States, the deeper that you dig, you're going to find the world's most powerful people because they funded it. I mean, even the origin of Karl Marx is this group called the League of Just Men. That's a shadowy group that had ties to the House of Rothschild.
Great podcast name there. We should bring back the League of Just Men.
TM.
Welcome to
TM. We'll just get a little table, put a pin in that. But they had this shadowy group. My friend James Perloff, who wrote Truth is a Lonely Warrior, covered that. And so even Marx itself, I mean, you mentioned earlier, like, they're setting up a Hegelian dialectic. They use extremisms of Marxism and communism to buttress up against something like capitalism. And what you get is socialistic capitalism. You get what we have today, which is free enterprise for the poor and socialism for the rich.
Yeah, 100%. Bail them all
out. And you got in Texas, watching my dad build businesses and lose things, and I have to go through so much. Nobody bailed him out, and it's called kissing the pig. Whenever you got to lose your business or go through that hell, and you don't get bailed out. That's why I look at these so-called, these are government-funded people to get to the top. And I don't think everybody at the top has been helped that way. And I'm not a classist. I think that there's people that earn their wealth. But on the majority, you see who has ties to Central Intelligence Agency contracts or government contracts and how they got where they were. They never really failed.
Or if they did fail, they would still push forward.
It's like Wilbur Ross came in the early 90s, and bailed Trump out, and then eventually became Commerce Secretary. Wilbur Ross is a Rothschild's agent.
Yeah, and that's a big issue right now in comedy. There's a lot of people that have some interesting backgrounds, that whether it's military, intelligence, or royalty, and again, we talked about it on the last episode that's coming out after this, but some of these influencers that we don't understand why they are where they are, we're starting to find out now, because they're jumping on this Zionist sword. And they have to do it because they were given all the cash and prizes to get to where they are. And the people who got them where they are is like, okay, this is our favor we're pulling in, or else we're going to just completely,
like the
controlled demolition.
Like you said, I remember being a kid, I'm like, who gave these kids these clout?
Right.
They're like 17 years old. They have millions of views. They were just waiting for them to call their moment here now.
Well, Nelk's dad is associated with, he's basically either associated with or the lawyer of some people who get caught doing some treasonous stuff for Israel. So, and that's how they do it. They don't get the guy, they get the kid of the guy. I mean, rock and roll's been like that forever. Nirvana, Dave Grohl. I mean, his dad, he'd be like, I got beat up at a Republican party. Yeah, because your dad was the writer for Reagan. That's why you were there, asshole. Like you like just a giant fraud. Now you go, well, he's a great drummer. Yeah.
It's like Jim Morrison's dad was the captain of the boat during the Gulf of Tonkin.
Yeah, and then they just position these people because everything is data. Can they push out, listen, General Morrison's kid is a wild one, hippie kid. Let's push him out to push hippie culture.
It's like the soundtrack of Vietnam was The Doors. Ironically, even you watch Apocalypse Now and think about how that connects. It's so strange,
right?
Mathematically that doesn't add up. But
it doesn't naturally add up. It doesn't, like, if you're saying can this naturally happen?
What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't quite understand.
Well, the question is, like, how can the guy that was a part of the Psyop fake us into Vietnam, how can his son be the soundtrack of Vietnam?
That's hilarious. Yeah.
That's also, I mean, I don't know if I'm the only one that ever said that, but I thought that was so weird. I found that out years ago, and I thought, wow, it's so imprinted. And you even watch the movie Jarhead, which is a real story about a Desert Storm, the first Gulf War, and Anthony Swafford writes that he's a Marine, and the choppers fly over and they're playing The Doors, and he's like, can't we have our own soundtrack to our own war? And because it was such a bit, like it was a war with a soundtrack and with culture behind everything. It's very bizarre.
The Mamas and the Papas deep into the CIA. I mean, you can just go through all these people.
Charles Manson, the Manson family.
And it's just like, just her, the Mamas and Papas. You remember the girls from One Day at a Time? Her dad was abusing her, and her dad was believed to be a serial killer. Like involved in a lot of like CIA, like nefarious shit.
Yeah, both, like Gloria Steinem was on the CIA payroll, ultimate feminist, and
so funny.
Timothy Leary.
Noam Chomsky too.
What a disappointment. Noam Chomsky. I mean, it just shattered his own legacy. Remember during the COVID 1984, and he's saying if you don't get the injection, you should go to a camp.
How can a guy like that? That has discussed the hidden hand in so much, not know that
his politics was always screwy though. Like, I mean, he had a lot of things right, but his politics
changed my
were
life.
always screwy.
He was
always
all of his books. They were tiny little books. I would read them when I was a freshman in college, and it just blew Manufacturing Consent is like changed my life.
Or Howard Zinn. Howard Zinn was like, they don't make Howard Zinns anymore. He was the first of the pilots in World War II at the very end of the war who dropped jellied gasoline, which became napalm. They were testing it out in Europe, and he was flying the planes that would drop it. And he got back home, and he became very anti-war and of the left. And they wrote the People's History of the United States. It's funny because if you watch Good Will Hunting, he says, Robin Williams asked Matt Damon, so what kind of books do you read? He goes, whatever blows your hair back. And he goes, you ever read the People's History of the United States? It's a good place to start. I think that's a good place to start.
Oliver Stone has a great TV version of it that he did for Showtime for a few seasons. That's pretty good.
Oliver Stone's interesting too, because he seems to stick along the official narrative of JFK. Am I wrong about that?
I mean, he made JFK. So
I mean, he made the movie JFK, and he used Jim Mars as a consultant. I thought there was a lot of good that came out of the movie itself.
Opened up the discussion.
Opened up the discussion, and there was more congressional investigations, and that's where they got the data dump, where you get the first view of what Operation Northwoods was. It came out accidentally on purpose maybe, but it was floated out there as something that Northwoods, if you're not familiar, was and I'm talking to the audience, it was that planned by the Joint Chiefs to hijack, aircraft, blow them up midair, and then have bombs go off and blame it on Cuban nationals to precipitate an invasion.
And by the way, 9/11's that, and the Challenger explosion is that. The Challenger explosion is step by step by step Operation Northwood. Do a giant media blitz, bring them everywhere, have a giant media event to watch them take off, and then blow it up in front of everybody. And now you got America getting behind NASA, which is a weird thing, right? Like, hey, they just blew up a ship. Let's give them more money. It's a weird way of operating, but 100% step by step.
I remember, what was the name, Johnny? Was it with the Discovery it came in at supposedly at a bad angle? This was the beginning of 2003. I remember this because it was a week before my best friend died in the Army, and after that I had to go to Arlington to bury him. I just remember it stuck out in my mind, and it's something that got whitewashed. If you remember that time, it's right before the invasion of Iraq, and we had this. It was and it broke up over Texas.
Are you talking about Columbia?
Was it Columbia?
Yeah,
Okay.
Columbia was in 03.
Yeah, it was the beginning of 03.
And that's the one we just watched live on TV. It just burst, on re-entry.
This one, right?
It's almost like they wanted to put an end to the space program, so they just say we're gonna privatize this.
It's funny, in Russia, the one in Russia that they kind of stole the designs for, it's just if you can get to where it might be in like Kazakhstan or something, I don't know, in some desert, and it's all just there in a warehouse. The shuttle, you can go in and see it. I've seen people like sneak out there. It's kind of guarded, but you can sneak out there, and a lot of YouTubers like to sneak out there to get to it. And it's just it's like it was just abandoned one day. They left the whole space program. The Russian space program is just there in a
the space shuttle was based off a Nazi design.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then there was a famous
NASA is based on a Nazi
Did you ever
design.
hear the story? I forget what the plane number and what it was connected to, but did you ever hear the story about the plane that crashed in Canada that had all the special forces in it? And
what?
If you go, will you go to YouTube and look up Control Alt History? I watched a video for
what kind of special force? American special force?
Yeah, they had come back from a job, and they were in Canada about to come home, and for some reason, somebody was loading up bags onto the
Was
plane.
it a DC-8? They were Gander in 85. They were refueling. Shortly after takeoff, it stalled, likely due to icing and being overweight, and crashed and burned.
That's what they say, but in reality, go down. He's got great
It was
stuff.
248 Army soldiers, nearly all from the 101st Airborne, on a peacekeeping mission in the Sinai, plus 8 crew members. Is that right?
But it goes deeper into like, were they involved? Yeah, that's it. And it's just this crazy ass because everyone thinks they were hit with a missile.
All
right, 1980.
This story's
this
nuts.
is 80. All right, this is
that's Flight 007 that you're thinking of. Is Flight 007 that was shot down over South Korea.
But this one was shot over in Canada. They took off, and someone had loaded bags on there and basically took them out.
I'm just looking at the picture here on the screen, and that's the Flight 007 had the anti-communist congressman on board, was the head of the John Birch Society.
Yep, I remember that as well, dude. And then he, because he was going in on
Larry McDonald. It was Larry McDonald.
And then he disappeared. Mm-hmm. And that's why when you talk to you want to interview Netanyahu and you want to get in his face, sleep lightly, dude. Don't fly. Take fucking a bus.
Is it Control History? Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Control History.
I have to pull up the video.
If you go to, can you hit videos?
Yeah, he just can't play the audio.
No, I don't need to play. I just want to look at the actual. Go up. Nope, don't hit that. Go to the top where it says videos. Click that. There you go. Go down a little bit. It's not that far. Larry Flint was nuts too. Keep going down. Keep going down. Keep going down. Keep going.
Okay, this will be a video about the 1983.
Yes. That was it. That the explosion of the Challenger took all the eyes off of this plane blowing up. It was only a short time after it. And people were starting to ask questions like, how did this happen? And
wait, are you saying Challenger? This says Iran-Contra, though.
No, this one right here. Was the Challenger explosion connected to Iran-Contra, which is all part of this. Iran-Contra.
Oh, so it was guys coming back from helping the Contra.
Yeah. Crazy, dude. Crazy.
Fascinating.
Now Oliver North just is a Fox News correspondent.
Yeah, isn't that unreal?
Talking about gun control and shit like that, right? Isn't it like nuts?
My parents are just kind of mainstream people, and they don't know anything about that really. They just remember, like, I remember him just standing up for his, for his government there in front, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's
Yeah, because that's what it was sold as.
No, I mean that's everything that they were sold that my parents.
And again, like I said, if Benedict Arnold was around today, he would be a talking head.
That's so fun.
Look at the last guy to pay a price for anything that the elites did is Oliver North. When was the last time anybody? I think there was a guy
like Ultra James
for the Clintons who got in trouble and he went to jail, and then one of the presidents pardoned him and he was out. But nobody pays for this ever.
I mean, the last spy to be executed was during the war, maybe. Like, it's been a long time since we put a lot of them in jail for life, but not like who was the last big spy? We haven't had a spy in a while. Who was the last?
Oh, we've had lots of spies.
Oh, we had lots of spies.
But like the big one, like a double agent.
How about
kind of situation.
that politician was begging a Chinese spy and then she dies in a plane crash?
I'm trying to think, who's the last big spy?
What was that, Johnny? What was that movie they did based off the late '90s where they set up that special office for that FBI guy? He was given secrets to intel to the Russians for years and years. They do a drop off, and they made him think he was in charge of this
Russian investigation, right?
Yes.
That's the last guy to pay. But he's working for other elites. He's not working for our elites. If you work for the military-industrial complex, the pharmaceutical industry, big pharma, any of those people, you never get in trouble.
The last big spy was this guy, Jerry Chun-Sheng Lee. He was a naturalized U.S. citizen and a former CIA case officer. He was sentenced in 2019, arrested in 2018. He was accused of helping China dismantle CIA
if you help other countries, they'll nail you. If you're doing nefarious shit for your government, you're good to go.
Yeah, like Fauci's never doing any time.
Yeah. And they're trying. No. Like, if you study,
they could burn him. I could see them burning him.
No, well, that's according to the SPARS pandemic simulation. He's meant to get burnt, and they keep trying to burn him, but the country just doesn't care. They just don't. We're so siloed
because
right now.
They use the straw man argument of the lab leak instead of going after the treatment or the process or the vaccine or anything like that. They use this ethereal thing, like you knew about. Gain of function. Thank you. These are really good.
That's it. The funny thing is, though, that's just as damning to him as anything else. Like if it was lab leak, I mean, that's just as damning to him. His head should be on a spike for that.
I want them to explain to me the step-by-step process of the lab leak. Did the lab just kind of like try to hit on the female scientist and got on her side and then just fucking got her to open the door? Like, what is the process of this leak getting out? We're just told it's a leak. What does that mean?
It's a simulation. Think about Stephen King, who I'm not a fan of, but some of his earlier work, there's some great writing in there. I mean, you have to give him props for that. The book, The Stand, which came out in the late 1980s, and I re-listened to the audio during like the beginning of all the COVID 1984 stuff. And there was so much. They call the virus, which is like this souped-up flu, in the book The Stand, it's called Captain Trips because it's somebody tripped, and there's a lab leak.
Huh. Oh, what a disappointing guy, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Disappointment, that guy.
The book 11/22/63. I mean, there's so much. He digs up so much stuff, and then he can't put the pieces together
wrong. Yeah,
and it's I mean, you have to work at it.
Yeah.
You have to. I mean, you have to.
How
work
off he is.
You have to. It has to be on purpose. How off his analysis is when you. Like I know Don Jeffries, who's spent his life since he was a kid researching JFK. He was part of the assassinations investigation, but in the 70s, he got to hold the Mannlicher Carcano rifle in his hand at the Smithsonian, like when he was 19 years old. Yes.
That's cool.
And so Don this is his wheelhouse his whole life. And you look at all the connecting dots. If you think that, and even Trump came out recently and was like, I just think Oswald acted alone. I'm paraphrasing, but he didn't believe in a conspiracy, which is because he's, that's so funny because he plays both sides.
Yes. Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
But if you can look at read 3 paragraphs of a synopsis of the JFK assassination, if you think that's a legit thing, the Warren Commission's a legit thing. And I like how you're talking about it. I forget what show you were on, talking about Hale Boggs, who, Bill Clinton drives him to the airport.
Now, you the one that told me that? I was trying to remember what guest told me it. And was it you that told me that?
It may have been. That's in my wheelhouse. But
yeah,
I don't know if
I mean, like, and people, and dude, go read the comments.
A young Bill Clinton. And you know who else was on that plane? Congressman Nick Begich. And Nick Begich, his son, is the one who talks about HARP and all of the geoengineering. And Alex Jones used to have him, I don't know if he still does, he run the 4th Hour on InfoWars, and a super smart guy. But Nick Begich Jr. is the one who calls out geoengineering and chemtrails and all that stuff years later. His dad was this kind of the same way. Not maybe geoengineering, but definitely looking into Hidden Hand and they both died on that plane, if I'm not mistaken.
It's so crazy. And so I won't keep you much longer, but so let's look at Texas, the flooding. So leading up to that, all the Zionists were like, what? There's going to be a false flag. There's going to be a false flag. Watch for Iran. Iran sleeper cells. False flag on the 4th of July. And the feedback is instantly, yeah, because it's Israel. Yeah, because it's Israel. And they have to be reading the room. That if something blatant happens, they're going to blame it on us. But they got to they just hate us so much. Like, then the Theo Von knockoff looking kid
with the
seeds the atmosphere, and this flood happens, and it hits a Christian school. It kills 100 kids. God rest their souls. Oh. And you're like, and then we were talking about earlier, sacrifice. Like, it lines up all, and then the kid's like, I had nothing to do with it. I seeded 120 miles.
I'm a patsy.
This great point. I'm glad you're ending with this, because what we talk about the politics or the Epstein stuff or whatever, the left versus right. They're literally terraforming planet Earth without our consent, with no oversight. We were not given a choice in any of this. You talk about the biggest crime that's going on before your eyes. You can look up and see they're doing it. Even normal people now are like, that's really weird, people you'd never think.
To the point that Disney is now taking out blue skies out of old animations. Like, think about they're taking out old, animation, replacing it with, hazy skies.
And now you're being gaslit. There will be a time, just like the Epstein letter, all the files, all that stuff will come out. Why are you still talking about geoengineering?
Yeah.
How
is that kid not arrested? I don't understand this.
I think it's entirely possible that he is a patsy meant to just take all the arrows, and it actually was a much, much more industrial scale operation.
It's not
than just him. Yeah.
I follow a lot of accounts that people showing chemtrails, and I've seen a lot of it banned lately where Instagram's not showing it. But for a while, and I started just writing down where I would see these videos from. And then I added it all up, and it's all NATO. It's all NATO countries. There's an NATO operation or something. Again, we're not privy to it. We're not read into it. We're not given a chance to debate. So
we're trying to solve crimes in the dark.
Right. And I try to bring that up on my show. I'm like, yeah, you're talking about all this stuff and left and right and everything else. And it's the illusion that you have a say when whatever they're doing, which is without our consent. It's the biggest crime. And and you look at, part of the time I live in the Ozark Mountains. just southern Missouri, northwest Arkansas, and it's beautiful up there. And you go on top of my mountain, and you look up, and they're just crisscrossing. And what's funny is like, oh, that's just planes flying. Oh, do planes not fly every day? Because some days it's not there. And the flight pattern's the same. It just means that that's the days that they're, and the next day it'll be cloudy.
And then Tennessee passes a law, and they're like, okay. And the rule is that you only own your atmosphere 10 miles up. Mm-hmm. So they go 11 miles and they start spraying. Like, it's crazy, dude. And it's like, people just don't understand it because, again, they're so distracted with stupid. We're saturated in stupid right now. We're just marinating in dumb. And it's not that people are getting dumber. Like, I love my grandmother with all my heart. I wish I could see her one more day, one more time. I would give anything for that. But my grandmother thought the answer machine was the devil. Like,
might have been right, by the way. She might. I mean, honestly, now that they can get you anywhere you are, your boss can find you at home now. Suddenly, it's like the cell phone.
Oh, maybe, Johnny. Good point. But the point is, it's like, how long would it take my grandfather to upload a picture to Instagram? It's just different skill sets.
Technology just is, and it'll mirror back to you. It's like if you want to see somebody's character, don't really put them through adversity. Give them a lot of money. Find out who that person is. What do they give to? What do they build? Yeah. You'll find everything about somebody. You give them money, and that's really where we are with technology. I got the Chat GPT on my phone, and I'm just looking at AI. I got a couple of books. I want to know more about it because I'm using it, and I'm going back and forth having these conversations on the financial system. Because I'm just a paratrooper who likes books. I need you get more tech. I want to know stats. So I asked it, and it knows like it. Whatever this iteration of AI is, we're in this. Midnight Mike said this the other day. Your co-host over on Doom Scrolling, and it's great. He's like, we're in the fun stage of AI before it turns evil, before it turns on us, and you can be creative with it, and it doesn't know not to. At least I don't know it to truly censor itself. Because I remember I asked an AI question a few months ago about the Federal Reserve meeting on the Jekyll Island in 1910. And it was like, it's a conspiracy. Like, it started listing out this conspiratorial activity. You wouldn't have gotten that 3 years ago. It would have been, oh, this was a plan, this was the meeting. And it wouldn't use these terms. It was used secretive. It used hidden.
I wonder also, have you ever written anything that goes, this is against policy? Have you ever seen that red line that pops up? And I'm starting now to think if they're keeping score of that.
Oh, it's kind of like in the movie Conspiracy Theory, where he has to have a copy of The Catcher in the Rye, and the bookstore scans it, and they know exactly they know his mind control. Like, we know who's asking these questions, and of course, my questions are all related to, I think, the origin of everything that is nefarious, which is who controls the money supply.
So when you go to ChatGPT, it asks you, do you want to just stay unlogged or log in? And I always go unlogged. So I'll have them rewrite my shit. And then the other day I noticed it has every single fucking time I've used it, it's listed all there. I go, but I'm not logged in. How do you, you're not supposed to know, but somehow because of my computer, you said, oh, this is him again. Let's put this over here. So when we have to put him on trial. Do
you think this was released? They've had it for years. You go back to the movie War Games with Matthew Broderick, where they have the Whopper, and the guy puts it in the frame of his son, like it's called Joshua. This AI that's going to run the nuclear warheads and all this stuff. Do you think that they just released it early, just to more confusion? It seemed like it was out of nowhere, and then we get AI.
Yeah, I think Q was AI. I think Q was the predecessor to everything we're getting right now, because they wanted to see if Q could connect with people.
Mm-hmm. You're so right. Right before AI became a thing, it was, remember the Turing test? Like, we're so far past it, but the Turing test used to be this idea that the test for whether there was a sentient computer was essentially whether you could put someone in a room and then they would be communicating with that computer in another room, and could they tell whether that was a human or a computer reliably? And if they couldn't, then it passed the Turing test. But we're so, we went past that, and they thought they were decades and decades away from that, maybe even a century away from that, and we went went to that line in like a month now.
Well, we're getting old technology right now.
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the old version.
Sometimes you log into something and then I still ask you, are you a robot? I'm like, dude, real AI can handle this real easy. Which ones are a bike?
Some places are getting rid of hitting
the captcha.
Yeah, some they're like, okay, let's not.
Well, the phone now, dude. I mean, I've called a few places now that have AI, and I really was. It took me a while to figure it out. There was the only one I only figured it out because the guy repeated this kind of stuttery phrase like over and over again. It was like, okay. Like that was the only unnatural thing about it. Everything else about it was completely natural. I think it was like I called the order or something from a company. I can't remember.
I've read emails from people. I go, this is AI.
People like on my tweets are like, dude, that's AI. I go, yeah, I'm a retard. Dude, I'm cleaning it up.
Sam, it wouldn't be too hard, and I'm pretty sure I could figure it out, or I can get you to make it seem like you're calling Dana and be like, hey, Dana, I got in a car accident. Can you send me some money to this?
That's a scam now. Yeah, they have.
You got to be real careful with that because they call your grandma. They're going for like on a scare. Hey, I lost my phone.
Luckily, my mom and dad don't know. I could give my mother a time machine, and she would just put it in her closet. She's like, I don't need to use this.
But I mean, that doesn't save her from this thing. I mean, she gets a call.
She doesn't go on the computer. She doesn't do anything.
The thing is, that's not how it's worked. The scam is not, dude. The scam, the way it works is, your mom gets a call from someone that sounds just like you because your voice is publicly available. Because they could easily train an AI on your voice, and it'd be like, "Mom, listen, I was trying to buy some drugs, something like, I don't know, whatever, something realistic for you. Let's say I was trying to buy some dirty magazines, right? And then I got captured by these guys, and they said they're going to saw my head off if you don't send me $5,000 right now to this address. And what they'll have her do, and this is what they do: put a bunch of cash in an envelope, and just UPS it to some address like express overnight, so it's there quickly. And they'll have a mule, a guy that they've paid $200. I saw a YouTube where they bust these guys, these mules. And they get paid $200 a day or $200 a package to go around just grab these packages from these addresses that they know people aren't living there. They're like for sale. The houses are for sale. And they get $200 a package. They have to open it on camera completely. Like they have to, from the moment they grab it out of the mailbox, it's all on a camera. And then they show them opening it and counting the money to make sure they're not stealing it. But yeah, and then it gets sent back to India or wherever the hell these originate. But it's creepy, bro.
Okay, so let's end on this. You said you have an understanding of the economy and what's happening with it. What are your thoughts?
Always a student, never a master.
Okay. What have you learned?
I'm fortunate to play the role that I play right now, and I'm always thankful to God to be able to do what I do with precious metals, and then we've added Bitcoin, and I still think the most important thing in this cycle that we're in is try to figure out how you de-dollarize yourself. And I'm not saying you go buy precious metals from me or give me your money. I'm not asking. I'm just not an infomercial, but I'm just saying the future of the dollar is set. I was talking to ChatGPT about it, if all fiat currencies go to zero, because they all do. The average lifespan of a fiat currency, fiat means by decree, is 26 years in history. There's no surviving currency not backed by something, not backed by a metallic standard like we had in the United States or a gold standard. The revolution that is happening right now in the monetary system is aside from things like we talk about chemtrails and geoengineering, it is possibly the most important story of our time because it's going to affect everyone on planet Earth. And what the elite are doing right now, and you can see it, they're not telling you to go and do the things they're doing. Russia just added silver as a strategic reserve asset, very quietly. It was a blurb. The financial news didn't cover it. Now you're looking at silver, it's nearing $40 an ounce. Okay, and there's a whole other story, but paper silver and all the stuff that happens in the manipulation, who controls that, the military-industrial complex, which is another side of that. But central bank gold buying, all-time records. They're just hoarding gold. The Chinese, the Russians, all of the BRICS nations moving away from the dollar. And there's something that happened in 2021 where the Bank of International Settlements made gold, took it from a Tier 3 asset to a Tier 1 asset, which means it's like a currency. Now it supplanted the euro. So the European Central Bank a few months ago came out and said, gold threatens the monetary order because they're getting pushed out. So gold overtook the euro as the second most held reserve asset by central banks. Number one is the dollar. But there's something else interesting happening. You got people like Larry Fink, head of BlackRock, who comes out and used to call Bitcoin an index of money laundering. Now he's saying Bitcoin's going to 700,000. He's telling the World Economic Forum. He's at Davos. He creates the most successful ETF of all time. I have to think they've run the simulations. They have to know that, again, the end game of fiat currency is a collapse in and of itself. The debt to GDP ratio surpasses 130%. That's a metric that most economists will say that's when you start having massive diminishing returns and you have a run on whatever currency. We are nearing that. And it's worldwide. It's systemic. There's 52 times more currency on Earth today than when I was born. So they have this currency and debt bomb going off before our eyes. They call it a great reset for a reason. They have to tell you first. They put this out into the consciousness where you're accepting this thing that they're going to do. Well, they're going to bail themselves out. They're not hoarding their own currencies, folks. Central banks aren't hoarding paper currency or fiat currency. They're buying assets in preparation for the reset. And I feel like my mission is I don't want to scare people because the dollar is not necessarily going to zero. It's going to digital. They just passed the Genius Act, and I think this is the end run around. I have Zbigniew Brzezinski talked about the end run around sovereignty for the technocracy. This is the end run around the central bank digital currency, where they use the stable coins to prop up the dollar and then access to Western markets through stable coins. But I think they're going to use Bitcoin as a backdrop of reserve, along with gold and other things. Those who think that they're changing the rules of the game right before your eyes. So if you're playing by yesterday's rules or today's rules with currency and saving, you already lost. So I feel like my mission with things like Wolfpack, with a subscription service for precious metals, I designed that for every person. And I take the big transactions too, but the big gold and silver companies, they target a certain demographic. They're good at it. That's not exactly what I do. I said, let's flip it on its head. We do Wolfpack. That way you can just start like $50. You can start. It goes all the way up to 5,000. And now we're going to have the same thing with Bitcoin. And I say, if you have Bitcoin, you want to turn it into precious metals, I don't charge you a fee. There's no friction in between you using your Bitcoin to buy. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for people to get out and off ramp from fiat currency into assets to prepare for, which is more devaluation, and it's a privilege to be able to do it. Thanks for letting me sponsor the show.
I love it, dude. This has been a great episode. I'm sure I'm going to get my dick kicked in the comments for a couple things because some people might get mad at nuance. But go to SamTripoli.gold and use the promo code tinfoil and get it on the precious metals games. And I don't know how long you've been sponsoring me, or I think it's been a couple years now, but I've been doing the Wolfpack thing every episode. I mean, every month I get precious metals. I got to figure out a new place to put it.
It adds up. Well, I can sleep pretty well at night. Anybody who started out with me a few years ago, you go look at your invoices.
Go all the way down. No, what's the biggest one?
The biggest
is the Zen Wolf?
Is the Zen Wolf.
Man, I'd love to do the Zen Wolf. Wouldn't that be great to be able to do the Zen Wolf?
It's from 2,000 to 5,000. And we also do, I added up where you can get a gram of gold. I don't charge you shipping, and I don't charge you a credit card fee. I'm the only guy in the business that doesn't do that. I don't charge. People get punished for having to use these systems, and I understand. So I eat that. I'm like, just buy a gram of gold. I mean, it's, if you stack it over time, the premiums will catch up to spot over time.
I do that. I said that. You sponsor Cash Daddies as well. And we have, I talked about like my whole goal in life is when I'm on my deathbed, I'm just going to be like, here's my pot of gold to my kids.
I bet you have some people who've done really well over the past couple of years, huh?
Oh, there's people that, especially on the larger purchases, but so all the small ones too. But I think about some of those ones, those IRA rollovers I did for people like in 21.
Baby.
And they've got, the big ones. And I think, wow, you did really well. And even like metals that I don't talk enough about, like copper just hit its all-time high in futures. And I'll add this before we go, but copper hit its all-time high. Platinum's on the run again. Anything that goes up, it's the battle of infinite versus finite. And you got something like Bitcoin, who's, there's only really 16 million Bitcoin that you can ever exist. Because
some of them are lost,
most of it in Satoshi's wallet, and the ones that are lost, there's only like 16 million. Well, there's 22 million millionaires in the U.S., so not even every millionaire in the U.S. can own one Bitcoin.
It's crazy when you go to somebody, hey, man, do you have Bitcoin? They're like, no. I'm like, what?
Well, what do you think of Schiff's?
Or not even a piece of Bitcoin.
What do you think of Schiff's point that it's infinitely divisible, though? So, Peter Schiff, that because it's infinitely divisible, you can just have Satoshis, in fractions of Satoshis, that it's not really scarce. That's his argument.
Well, it's measurable. I mean, there's 100 million Satoshis in each Bitcoin. That's divisibility, because originally Bitcoin was meant to be digital currency and not necessarily a store of value. I mean, it was always meant to go up in value and become more scarce and more valuable. But the system and the mechanisms that push Bitcoin have changed a bit. But it's so scarce. I mean, think about that, or you think about something else. What I think is the outlier that people are so tired of silver, because they've been all the silver bugs and gold bugs for years going, oh, it's going to go to X number, and I've heard this, because I've been following it my whole life. But now I think that that time has come. Where
do you think silver could go really big?
Here's what I know. You go to the end of we talked about this last show, but you go to the end of the 1970s, going into 1980, silver hits $52.50 an ounce, because the Hunt family in Texas, who deep state ties, or at least fought
I
the
have
deep
a
state.
theory. I've read something about that story. I think I told you this.
We talked. I looked at what they did, and they got punished. They got deep stated
because they wanted to help Texas secede.
There was, I believe, that aspect. They were. If you look at the movie Nixon, by the way, there's a character named Jack. He's played by Larry Hagman, who was JR on Dallas. He plays this guy named just Jack, and Nixon has to go see Jack on the day of the Kennedy assassination, of all things. And it's a nefarious meeting, but that was supposed to be the Hunt family, and there's a lot of cloudiness around their role and anti-Kennedy stuff as well. But they did something where they said, we're going to buy the physical silver, because they knew that when we went off the gold standard and we debased our currency starting in 1965, taking the silver out, that it was just the dollar, as and measured by silver is just going to continue to go up. And so they had these massive contracts. Well, they drove the silver price to $52, Sam, and now it's 45 years later. Silver has not reached its all-time high. It's the only commodity that I can find. What commodity has not had an all-time high in 45 years?
So who's controlling it?
Well, theories go, and I'm not the only one who thinks this, but there's 500 ounces of silver in each Tomahawk missile. There's a monster box of silver in each Tomahawk missile. J.P. Morgan Chase is the largest physical holder of silver in the world, and they were convicted of suppressing the silver price. Why would you want something that you own to go down in value?
Because they own the rockets.
Because you continue to see. And there's another thing that's going on right now, and I know we've actually lost members, even with more advertising. My sales right now it's weird, because you look at these prices, you think, oh, Tony's swimming in it. We have to work harder because the economy is harder on regular people.
It's hard for people to buy.
But the price goes up, which means that institutions are buying. And that's what I've been trying to tell. There's something that's happening right now. Prices are rising. Average people can't buy as much.
Oh, so they're
selling. They're buying it from you. So think about that. I know, like I hired somebody just when somebody can't. We call them. We say, look, you want to we'll put you on a list. We'll come back. It's important for you to stack, because if you're saving anything, save a commodity of some kind. Save something that's finite as opposed to infinite.
I might bump up how much I got. I might do it.
Constitutional Wolf is good too, because 90% U.S. silver pre-1965, I've got a ton of it. I buy it a lot, and there's good value there. I beat the pants off most of the massive retailers.
Just take it and stack it, folks.
Take it and stack it. And then you got actual currency.
Take it and stack it. Great episode. One more time. Tell them where they can find you, Tony.
You can go to my website. My personal site is, you just go to tony.gold if you want to find my shows or contact me, and then samtripoli.gold for any of the ordering, or look at what Wolfpack is, or what Wise Wolf Bitcoin can do. And thanks you guys again.
Always a great episode to talk to you. It's fun. We just talk. It's always good to have those episodes where you're not going right into one thing. But so get in on it, guys. I'm telling you, if you listen to the show, You know this is important. All right, let's break down the episode. All right, guys, great episode. Real quick, go to SamTripoli.com. Check out all my dates. Again, I'm going to be in Boston, Broadbrook, Connecticut, Kansas City, Chicago, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and then I'm going to be at Skankfest. So go to SamTripoli.com. We're having some internet problems right now, so probably used it too long. But great. Go check out SamTripoli.com. The Patreon and my premium content's on fire. Cash Daddies is crushing it. If you want to make money in these crazy markets, great way. Howie Dewey is an idiot savant when it comes to investing. Great way, dude. People are making money on there. Johnny, you're crushing it, right?
Absolutely.
So go check that out. And then all of our affiliate programs, obviously Wise Wolf. We love them. Check out the YouTube channel too. Go to youtube.com/tinfoil hat YouTube. We're over 1,000 subscribers already. Trying to grow it as quickly.
Kid friendly too, by the way. You can put this around the kids. No bombs, no nothing.
This guy spends 3 days on each episode beeping out all the beepies. Okay, but the affiliates, Wise Wolf, Gold and Silver, get in the precious metals games. We got Tim James and the wonderful his supplements. We also have the Mineral King with Pat Miltich, and all of our affiliates are the people that are going to help you. We got more affiliates coming on. We got the honey guys coming on. We got the shiitake, shikishaki stuff that I take every day as well. Anything else, guys?
Hit that like button, like Sam said. Go to the Tinfoil Hat YouTube. Be an original. Go help us out to get to 2,000.
Yep.
Yeah, be an original. Go to @JohnnyWoodard on Twitter and hang out with me there.
The original.
All right. Sorry, we're having some internet problems. Enjoy these highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim. Cassie, like the one guy that she could actually talk to was the Punisher. You know what I mean? Like,
make him the good guy. He's a listener too.
He's the hero. Yeah, like he's just sitting in the room.
He's got a fat hog and he's got a nice ear to listen.
It's funny too. Or interesting at least the idea that the prosecutors prepped him to really get destroyed by the defense, and then the defense was just like, nah, man, we're going the other. That was smart of them, really, to make it set it up like, hey, this is actually just legit, little kinky like sex interaction here.
Well, that's what everyone on YouTube was saying. He's just a kinky guy, which I think that the conservative right would do themselves a great service if they just go, okay, he's kinky, dude. If he's not hurting kids and he's not hurting women or hurting men, who cares? I mean, I take a beating all the time when I say that, but it's like to go the opposite way and have this kind of Puritan view of sex is, and like, dude, you do whatever you want. Like, if you just want to do missionary and stare into your wife's eyeballs the whole time, do that.
It's between you and God, man. It's not
100%. And you can go, listen, dude, these are sins. They're committing sins. Okay, then when they meet their maker, they'll pay the price. But right now, you're doing yourself a giant disservice by demonizing these kind of acts. And we're just talking consenting adult acts. Okay? You're demonizing this shit, and you're allowing for blackmail to happen.
Now, I will say I don't know about his take on Schmepstein. Because I feel
what he's saying, what he said is like, is it are they just inflaming it, meaning that they're keeping it in the news all the time and we see people tweeting it. Hey, they want you to talk about Epstein. They don't want you to talk about the what's going on in Gaza, what's going on in Ukraine. Not talking about Palantir.
Yeah. No, that I believe.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, that's what I was saying. No, where he's saying that like maybe Schmepstein was just a freaky guy. I mean, you don't have a whole island. Diddy didn't have a whole island where he brought in the royals, to be.
I agree, Johnny. I agree.
That's a whole different vibe. By the way, just came over an hour ago. Former President Joe Biden admitted to the New York Times, that he did not personally sign off on every individual pardon via his auto pen signature. So that's
non-linear.
Well, okay. Do you think that's
Do you think that's NLE too, or nonlinear warfare rather, or do you
it's to get everyone going. What the fuck? What the hell? Why would he admit that? Even if he's a retard, why would you admit that?
Do you think so? When they go after Fauci, which it seems like they're winding up to do you think that's legit or just a show trial?
Well, I think that's a show trial that you heard about in the SPARS pandemic simulation that Brad Binkley and Monica Perez came on, told us years ago about. And she literally said they're going to throw Fauci under the bus and make him take all the arrows, which I believe is going to be the exact same thing they're going to do to Netanyahu. That's his role. He knows his job. His job is to push the ball this far and then take the fall for it.
By the way, speaking of Netanyahu, I watched that video you shared of Mandy Patinkin, the actor.
How great is that video?
Maybe we end with that. It was so just because I've always been a fan of his. He is very left politically, but he is committed to the actual left ideals, the liberal ideals that used to define the true left.
I thought that was one of the most powerful videos I've ever seen. And that quote he says about his lines in that movie
completely agree.
So powerful.
All right, we're gonna watch this here. This is just, I mean, it is moving. And if you have a soul, I think you'll agree. Here we go. I got to refresh this to get it to start over because it's stupid Instagram. But just like
the movie was on. She was watching The Princess Bride, and just as I walked in the room, is that final scene in the movie where Inigo is sitting by the window with the man in black, and the man in black asks Inigo, would he like to be the next Dread Pirate Roberts? And the Inigo Montoya actor, who was me, said these words, which I did not really know what they meant, that William Goldman wrote, which I think are the singular greatest words I've ever read. You know, I have been in the revenge business so long. Now that it's over, I do not know what to do with the rest of my life.
Dude, how
and I asked Jews all over the world to consider what this man, Benjamin Netanyahu, and his right-wing government is doing to the Jewish people all over the world. They are endangering not only the state of Israel, which I care deeply about and want to exist, but they are endangering the Jewish population all over the world. He is the most dangerous thing, not just since October 7th. It has been a deeply troubled situation.
And endangering the Jews by endangering those in Gaza.
And to watch what is happening for the Jewish people, to allow this to happen to children and civilians of all ages in Gaza, for whatever reason, is unconscionable and unthinkable. And I ask you Jews everywhere all over the world to spend some time alone and think, is this acceptable and sustainable? How could it be done to you and your ancestors, and you turn around and you do it to someone else?
Fire, bro.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yes.
Fire. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. I've been saying it forever. And it's this thing that
if you'd like to hear the rest of this episode, subscribe to Broken Simulation in your podcasting app or check us out at youtube.com/SamTripoli.
Go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind. Tinfoil hack.